Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah, yeah, yeah. See, if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place. Creating the force and the power to live a better life. Just know that love and joy and peace is one in all of the same space. That you were chosen just like God. Can mighty, can mighty. How can mighty your energy? That's right. How can mighty? Only you can make the change. How can mighty? Share your energy. How can mighty? Shine so bright from darkness to light. Hey, hey, hey. From darkness to light. Yeah. And you'll find your way out. Yeah, yeah. Oh, it won't seem way out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The power of God will flow through you from way out.
A bunch of never-before-seen files on UFOs have been released by the Pentagon. So, what's in them? One of the files reveals Buzz Aldrin, who was the second person to walk on the moon, said in a 1969 interview that he saw several inexplicable phenomena during his trip. I observed what appeared to be a fairly bright light source, which we tentatively ascribed to a possible laser, he said. Other reports released in the file state a man told the FBI in 1957 that he witnessed a large circular vehicle rising over the ground. There are also interviews from more recent years in which US citizens report hovering metal objects materializing out of bright light. The documents were declassified on Friday at the direction of US President Donald Trump, who said he'd release them based on the tremendous interest shown. There are 161 files to see on the Department of Defense's website, and in the words of Trump, have fun and enjoy.
Man, so earlier today we actually did a whole show about this, and we were talking about it with a Hebrew Israelite, and you know what? He wasn't having it. He went 8-ish. If you guys haven't seen it, man, check it out. Part 1 of this whole thing was off the chain. If you guys haven't seen it, I mean, it was, man, folks wasn't having it. They was not having it. The UFO thing, like, nah. No. Okay. And, you know, I said, you know what? I'm going to do a part 2. Because, you know, we have to, like, you know, we can't just let it leave at that, you know? So, I said, okay, well, let me at least do a part 2. But let's hear a little bit what was being said during the first iteration of this, because people, listen, they wasn't having it, guys. They was not having it. Hold on. Let me go ahead and bring that up, because yeah, it was not being accepted. The UFO files was like, no, it's BS. So let's get into it. Let's go. Here we go.
When he just said, fork up the alien. Why do we keep on getting these janky ass videos with no real evidence, with nothing tangible? I'm filing a habeas corpus. I want to see fucking goddamn ET. I want to see, since we know everything.
Right.
Since we think we know every goddamn thing, show me. Show me.
Show me.
You know what I'm
Look up the
saying?
alien, alive or dead or undead,
Okay.
preferably alive.
Right.
And then we can all say, we can all look at it and we can do tests on it.
Right.
And no longer would anyone ever more have to say, do you believe in aliens? Any more than anyone says, do you believe in elephants? Imagine only a few dozen people had ever seen an elephant. and they were describing it in Congress. There's a big rubber hose coming out the front and 2 teeth sticking out the side, and it's got ears the size of bed sheets, and the legs are the size of tree trunks. Yeah. And I swear it's alive. That's kind of, you'd be skeptical. But then, so they just roll out the elephant. Okay, we're done here. On to the next questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So that's pretty much what the status quo was on the last video. It was like, okay, show me the proof. And the more we got into the conversation, it got even more like, no, like, let's shout out. All right, so here we go.
They say essentially this is not within our jurisdiction. They refer it to the Army Air Forces, and that's it. No conclusion, no deeper analysis, just move the information through the system. Most of this has been out for many, many decades. If you are a serious UFO student.
Honey, even Zion's son got into the whole fray of it all.
Trump has said that he's going to release all the files. There's still a lot of edited and things that are hidden that are not being released. And
you didn't even let me finish the whole thing. He was going to break it down.
Is that supposed to be evidence?
Well, no, this was the story of that. It was going to break down the story of the
you know what goose in the story is? Remember when I talked about my ice cream truck? Like there's part truths in it, right? But I embellished a little bit when I talked about sliding over the hood of a moving car, right?
Okay.
This is gassing us. See, we have to be careful, yo. Y'all know what schizotypal does? Schizotypal, you look like you can actually talk and function like you are, you know what I'm saying, not mentally ill. However, people who have schizotypal disorder have amazing imaginations, right? Not that imaginations are great are bad.
Right. So are people that are into UFOs, are they schizotypal? Are they really believing in something that does not exist? Are they investing their time into things that don't exist? Are people that believe in UFOs and believe that they've had contact with UFOs, is there something wrong with them mentally? Let's go.
Can we not put Jesus inside the cockpit of a fighter?
Yeah, we're just like she just going.
Let's not put Jesus inside the cockpit.
That's schizotypal disorder. She's schizo.
Okay. Well, here we go. Let's hear the rest of it. Because she actually gets into other stuff. Let's
go. You would bring in something to captivate the entirety of the planet so that everybody can be on the same accord. So I think some of this is a bit of a psyop. And if you look at some of the footage.
So she agreed that it might be a psychological operation. But as the show went on, it was like, no, we ain't trying to hear that. Let's go.
And having absolutely not an iota or an ounce of verifiable. Oh, we know that the ETs have to fly in. No, we don't. We don't know shit. When's the last time a fucking goddamn ET touched your hiney, girl?
Well, she was getting into that. She was
I'm good. I'm good. No, this is the type of shit that makes me lose my fucking mind because crazy people want to talk to you about shit that they can't prove, and say it so serious and so fucking goddamn straight out of their fucking side of their neck.
Okay, I think that put it correctly.
All right, so that was the show earlier today. Please go back and watch it because it got heated. So now we're on to part 2. And we're going to, just talk more about the UFO files, what has been found, what people have been talking about, what, you know what I'm saying? What's really going on? Let's go.
This shit is getting weird. The Brazilian government just released all of their files on UFOs. It's all in Portuguese, so it's a little bit hard to go through, but there's 900 different photos of UFOs on there. People are hoping these are from the Caleres and Varginha cases, which were some of the most famous cases in Brazil. These are really convincing, especially since these were taken like 30 or 40 years ago, and we definitely didn't have technology like this back then. And the photos get even freakier because there are some over a lake right here where it looks like they're almost falling angels, like these black blobs just over this lake, and there are just so many witnesses to it as well. Brazil has one of the most UFO and alien sightings in the whole entire world, but you never know about it because it's not in the mainstream media. If you guys want to check out the report yourself, you're going to have to make an account on this Brazilian government website. Let me know what you guys think because this is actually crazy.
So, as time has gone on, I've been like just watching this whole thing unravel with the files and everything like this. And you have some people that are like very much against it. Like, you know what? Nah, this can't be real. It can't be a real thing. But then you have others that's like, okay, it could be real. It could be, right? So let's go into people that are really believing this could be a real thing. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm like, okay, it could be real. I'm not against it. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not about like, I don't have to really get that in. Let's go.
The day since the government released the UFO files, we finally got some disclosure on some of the most secretive videos, clips, and reports related to UFO and alien sightings in America and all around the world. Now, people are still digging into these files just like they dug into the Epstein files, and we're finding new interesting things, but also we're hearing that there might be future releases in this ongoing, I guess, series of UFO files that might be some of the craziest things yet. And this Reddit post is suggesting that there might actually be a clip or a video of them aliens, for real deal, right? It says the one video we need released, which will basically be disclosure, a gray alien looking out of the window of a disc shot from a B-52. Now, this is insane, okay? So this is an X post by Ross Coulthard, who is been digging and doing journalism on these UFOs for a minute, all right? And he said, from a well-informed source who has seen the UAP videos still being withheld by the Department of War, accessible on its highly classified SIPR net servers, among many others, we have videos of the following. I've personally seen this one on SIPR, a video from 6 years ago from the Persian Gulf, full color daytime of a white orb with plasma aura all around it, flying out of the water near a tanker. Pilot then goes white hot and black hot with no joy on identification attempt. Then the orb flies out, and roughly halfway through the 13-minute video, another white orb flies into the area as the pilot diverted to track the first one, and the second one hangs out for a while before zipping off again. The video then ends after a few more minutes of the Halo pilot tracking the first orb. I have not seen these, but they have been described to me by someone now public who was in the UAPTF. A video of a black disc 3 times the size of an oil platform that was captured speeding underwater near a platform in the Gulf of Mexico. And 2, a video from a B-52 in which a disc approaches, slows down to keep pace, then zips off at the end, all the while with NHI looking out of the windows, force fields, or whatever they call windows. It says, yes, this video exists. Apparently, this has personally been witnessed, right? That is the video. Apparently, there are more.
Here's the question. Do aliens come from outer space or inside the water? Is outer space like water? Because everything I hear, whenever I hear the NASA flight and they have the video, it sounds like they're underwater. I hear like bubble type of sounding things, sound like they're like in the water. So I'm still trying to understand if alien life is outer space above us or in the depths of the sea. Whatever it is, I mean, I get it. People are like, there's no proof of it. Well, honey, there's no proof of Moses. There's no proof of Jesus. There's no proof of... People will believe in the Bible and tell me that there's no proof of aliens. That's what's crazy. They will be a full Torah Hebrew Israelite, believing in all these characters from back in the past, but they will not believe that aliens could exist. That's a very interesting concept, and be willing to say, you know what, you have no proof. Well, honey, you have no proof for what you believe in. Everything you believe in, there's no proof for it. So at what point does proof really make a difference? Let's go.
As well, it said another one was described by a source at ODNI, an orb playing cat and mouse with a Reaper drone at 30,000 feet or so up. It forces it to go evasive and then keeps pace with it. Zips around on the right wing, then zips off. All of this was in 4K or better, as told to me by my source, who is extremely well cleared and someone who I trust implicitly. It is very strange. It says, I've also spoken to multiple TS SCI cleared insiders who have described many similar irrefutably anomalous videos.
Where is the video, though? That's the thing. The only thing about this whole UFO thing, it's always like, I said this and I talked to somebody else and then I spoke to this person that said, but where is the video of it? Why are we seeing black and white videos in 2026 when we have like all the ability to like show the colors? Why are we seeing, honey, they made Wizard of Oz that was a black and white film be in color. What's really going on? Let's go.
And imagery still being withheld by the Pentagon. I'm told it's extremely unlikely that this imagery will be formally released by AARO and that the public is being misled in a clear strategy of disinformation. Whether the Secretary of War and the President are aware of this deception is unclear. Let's hope they don't allow themselves or the public to be deceived. And then somebody said, I've personally seen number 2. It was Bob Maguire. Lots of people were shown it. When asked if it were grays, he confirmed it with a thumbs up emoji. Okay, who is Bob Maguire? He's an electrical engineer, radar signal processing expert who became known in UFO circles for applying technical analysis to military footage and sensor data. Instead of arguing over blurry black and white dots, can we get Luna, Burleson, or Burchett to push for these videos to be classified and settle this once and for all? People saying, I'm going to need to see that B-52 video, boss. Me too. Right? For real, this video gets formally released by the US, and that's disclosure. It's confirmed. That would be full confirmation. It says, meanwhile, here's a heavily redacted video of a blurry dot. Okay, people saying they don't trust him. But anyway, okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through some of the stuff that has apparently been released in these UFO files. Okay, and you might be disappointed we don't see any grays, no gray figures, but there have been some very interesting things that have come out from the footage. All right, most of it's coming from drone footage because they spend so much time observing the sky and the ground during wartime. So this is kind of one of the latest UFO sightings that we actually do have available to us. This was submitted by the US Indo-Pacific Command, an unidentified anomalous phenomenon. 1 minute and 59 seconds of video footage from an infrared sensor aboard a US military platform in 2023. There was no oral or written description of the observation, but they track an unusual object. It maintains a fixed position and orientation. And basically, yeah, this is the latest UFO clip that we've got, right? They're tracking this figure, this object. They got no idea what this is, right? They got no idea what this is. They haven't worked out. This was in 2023, okay? Kind of a weird orb-looking thing in the sky. Maybe it's 2 things. But again, they got no idea, right? They got no idea what this is. So these are all the kind of new UFO files, the new footage and pictures that have come out, but they've kept the gray aliens from us. Okay, they've kept the grays away from us, but that's kind of the first.
I'm beginning to agree with what Zion said. What the fuck is that bullshit? Where? Show me the floor. Y'all don't have color cameras on your planes by now. It's 2023 that this was taken in. So you mean to tell me we're going to go into 2026, 2027 and still have black and white images of radar? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but what is this? We need to be having, at this point, we're driving Teslas. We have electronic cars. We have AI. Show me a real picture of a UFO. Thank you. Show me a real AI picture. I mean, a picture of, not an AI picture. Show me a real picture of a UFO. At this point, this is bull stuff. And now I get where the outrage from Zion was coming from, because we're up here looking at black and white images of what? And so there's a camera taking footage of a black and white rendering of a radar, of a black and white other thing. Come on now.
One that I hadn't seen before. A little bit unusual. It's unexplained, but I don't know what on earth that could be. But they're saying that's a UFO sighting from 2023. So we got another one.
Are they purposely taking the color out of it before they send it to anyone to look at? Like who? Come on now.
One from the files, right? This one is a little bit more of a shape to it. And this apparently was observed by the Indo-Pacific Command as well in 2024. 9 seconds of video from an infrared sensor. No description. They said that this is an area of contrast resembling a football-shaped body with 3 radial projections, one oriented vertically, 2 oriented downward at a 45 degrees.
Right. So if you guys can like take infrared, can't you invert it and make it full color? Like, what are we doing now? Why are we looking at black and white? You know?
Angle relative to the major axis of the main mass. So this is quite an unusual one. This one we're getting a better view of whatever this is. I'm not going to lie to you, this almost looks like a blimp, but I think if it was a blimp, they would have known that. They would have worked it out.
It's not making sense.
Unusual. Okay. And so the next sighting that is available to us is this one here. Okay. And so this one is basically described. It's 1 minute, 46 seconds from another infrared sensor on a military platform. This one's from 2013. And it basically says there's an area of contrast that resembles an 8-pointed star with arms of alternating length. And basically, there's a sensor field of view at the bottom right of the screen. No idea what this is. Okay. Again, this is looking a little bit more like the star, the kind of compass-shaped objects that we'd seen previously. And the way it's moving is definitely looking like something from out of this world. That's a closer zoom of it there. It just came off screen there. Now, these ones are the creepiest ones. These are even leaving trails behind. And I think this is one of the most bizarre ones. Now, I don't know if this is more of a flare of light rather than the actual shape of the object, but that is creepy as hell. So this seems to be the more consistent shape that a lot of the UFOs that are getting sighted in these files are giving. This is an image that, a shape that has been shown in several different images that have been, found or posted since before and after this UFO disclosure. But this one is super creepy. I really don't like the way it moves. I don't trust this shape. It is a compass-like, but I can't imagine why something would move in that way. It's leaving behind a trail. This is probably one of the most bizarre ones and one of the most illuminating ones. And I think we'll be seeing more of this shape as we see more videos getting released, because this one seems to be consistent across a few things. But it's leaving behind a trail. It seems to be moving behind very fast. I think we're at a great distance here. But that is very, very suspicious. It's almost like it's trying to write something out, like it's trying to communicate or something. But the way that it moves is just nothing like a plane. It seems to be perfectly suspended in the air. It can move in any direction.
All right, so how long are we gonna get these grainy photos of nothing? I'm beginning to like agree with Zion. Like, bro, what is this? What are we looking at? What are we really looking at? Let's go. I'm just saying, like,
the time when my son get off the bus and come in, saying he wanted to take the laptop for a little while. He's been in school all day, and I tried to get on the phone, but
I'm sorry, guys. I'm like fast forwarding.
Become spiritual beings, aligned with divine intelligence instead of being trapped in material consciousness. So the theory can expand to what we're seeing is not aliens per se, but literally us from different dimensions. When we activate the kingdom of heaven within, we are able to travel and explore more of God's creation. Also wanted to touch on the fact that we've been hearing that a lot of pastors have been given briefings in order to prepare the church. I just want to give a warm reminder to use your discernment. One pushing fear around all of this is not in alignment with where humanity is headed. When you catch yourself feeling afraid or a sense of panic, ask yourself, who benefits from me being afraid? What has not given you a spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind? You were programmed to separate creator from creation. And in reality, we are all one, but we're all operating on different frequencies. So always be mindful of what you're letting affect your frequency.
So what do you think about that? I think that, you know, she makes the point. Like, what if people are capable within their deep meditative state to astral project, and maybe that astral projection is looking like a UAP? Maybe that Merkaba type of thing looks like a unidentified flying object. What if
the maybes is speculative, and what we want to do is we want to stay grounded in reality, because what we don't want to do is become an insane freaking nut basket who freaking daggone thinks that they can daggone, you know what I'm saying, astral project, you know what I'm saying, and choke out their ex-girlfriend because they're still pissed at her. Because I'm going through some things.
You don't believe in astral?
Hold on. Okay. You asked me a question. Let me talk.
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
No, like, okay, no, I don't know. Not magically freaking daggone lighting up the skies and stuff in our dreams. Like, we watch too many movies. We have to.
We watch too many movies. Is that what this is really about? That we're just like imagining all these things. So you have Trump and everything. If we are watching too many movies, maybe he's feeding into it. Who knows? Let's go.
Only a 5-second video. It described the observation as initially as a possible missile moving across the field of view. There were 4 other objects that weren't in the video. They were possible birds, but they weren't sure exactly what this was. So this is just a little 5-second one that we kind of, what can we see? It's just a little something flies by. That looks like a missile, to be honest with you. That does look like a missile, but if they were unaware of any missiles that were intended to be used in the area, it's very unusual as a miss. It does look like a missile. So the next one I've got for you guys here is this. So this is another unresolved UAP report. They said it was a probable Su-27 or 35. So they're thinking that this one is an airplane in the way that it moved. But let's see. This is still in the UFO files. Let's see. Where does it appear? Is that way in the distance? See, this is something that's moving a lot more like a plane. I could believe that's a plane. It's kind of like shuffling along in the sky like a plane normally would. So the next one we've got here, this one's interesting. Okay, this one's interesting. So this one, it basically explains, this is a 2-minute, 17-second video. It was an object, a solid white object that made erratic movements above water. They basically, the sensor pans away from the initial subject matter, cycling contrast settings. The area of contrast re-enters the sensor field of view. So I think they have these sensors on the planes that are kind of looking for objects. They're trying to track onto them. They're scanning the environment, and they eventually kind of get onto it. And it says a blue reticule screen.
Well, you see how many things were redacted in that one picture? I mean, they went from redaction to pretty much everything being redacted in this one picture. Like, what is this shit? What is this? What the hell? They redacted everything, like anything that could make this make sense, right? Where is the plane flying at? What's its altitude? What is its? But they redacted all that stuff, right? Even like it redacted the thing that whatever we think that we're looking at. Like, I mean, I get it, but it's like it's getting kind of weird. All right, let's go.
Radar. I don't know if these are UFOs too, or if these are just other things that are normal. They're not moving in such a dramatic way as this one, and it's gone. So those are kind of all of the main UFO sightings that I've kind of seen documented in these files as far as videos go. But investigative journalist Ross Coulthard has been discussing the video that he wanted to be released. As I already showed you this earlier, we have been waiting to find out what is going on with this file. And what's really interesting is that there are actually files in there that have been discussing the Roswell incident. So I've got all of these files in a document here, which may well reveal kind of some of the truth and some of what was really going on as far as the alleged aliens crash landing and being captured in Roswell. So let's take a look.
How are aliens of superior knowledge crash landing? That type of issue like just blows my mind. Okay, I'm an alien from an ancient civilization that is above everything, and we are crash landing. Oops, we made a mistake. Whoops. You know, what's up with that? How we crash landing planes in UFO?
Some of those before I wrap this up. But here we've got a few documents, okay, and some very, very interesting stuff. So we ain't seen them aliens yet, but what we do have is files discussing incidents that occurred in Roswell where UFOs were allegedly captured, and it will actually discuss that somebody was actually found dead after recovering UFO technology. So look at this. Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of it. It says, on the 1st of July, 1947, Lieutenant William G. McKinty, a student from Williams Field at Chandler, Arizona, was interviewed by this agent and stated in substance that on the 30th of June, 1947, at about 9:10 a.m., he was flying at 25,000 feet over the Grand Canyon, Arizona, in an F-80 type aircraft. He stated that he was heading south towards Williams Field, Arizona, when he saw two round objects going at inconceivable speeds straight down. He further stated that his reactions were to turn away from the objects. He further stated that one of the unidentifiable objects followed others seconds apart. He further stated that due to the speed of the objects, he could only see that they were circular, that they were possibly light gray in color. So that's the objects. He further stated it was his opinion that the object.
So Trump is releasing shit from 1947. Who gives a fuck about 1947? What's happening right now, bro? 1947. You know what I'm saying? These papers are getting like old as fuck. And you think that they're releasing something. So let's get into Floorborn and what she's talking about, her own alien encounters. Let's go.
The shotgun on the right hand, you know what I mean? And watching beings would look like webbed hands walking out of these waterways and not bothering them and just walking by and walking. I remember my Uncle Mac, I was like maybe 6 or 7, and he would tell stories like this. And you know, as a child, you're thinking, oh my God, is that real or so? But as time has gone up, you know, hindsight is 2020. Now I'm realizing that he was witnessing some of these aquatic or these type of frog beings, you know, these amphibious beings that many people talk about in the South that are living and were living amongst people for many generations, including brown people who were literally the indigenous there, and they had relationships with the brown people. That's why they never bothered them. They never bothered them. They just witnessed them coming out of the water. They'd be drinking at night and they go in the water and come out and go back in later.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Wow. Do you think these water beings, do you think there's something about the night that they prefer to come out?
Yeah, because we're savages on Earth. Look at the savagery. Yeah. Look at the heinousness that our governments do to anything that they don't want us to see or know about. Of course, they wouldn't want to come out in the daytime because, again, you know, especially with colonization and the beings that came that did not know about them, you know, the native indigenous knew many different groups of, you know, amphibious beings that were living amongst them, or reptilians. You know, you hear about, what was it? There's old stories about.
Are reptilians aliens? Are they aliens? We're talking about extraterrestrial, unidentified flying objects coming from outer space. But is outer space really inner space that these things are coming from? Let's go.
about the reptilians living in the swamps of Mississippi and over in Louisiana, right? So when colonization happened, new beings came in who didn't have the information, who didn't have the cellular memories of the beings that the people of indigenous people of color had always been a party to or knew about were living there. So they don't want to get involved with those people because they saw what they did to the indigenous people. Why are they going to come out when they're killing the mainland people? They know that they're savages just from that.
Indeed. You know, and before I forget, because I want to get back to the UFO files,
Yes.
but there's something I wanted to ask you last show that me and you did solo. Speaking of sightings and UFOs and seeing things and the sun, some people say they see beings coming out of the sun. I want to ask you, Flebron, what's your thoughts on when you're in the sun and you see like the eye floaters? Because some people say that they're parasites. Some of the health people say they're parasites, and some of the spiritual people have something completely different to say. They're saying they're light codes. They're saying they're information. They're saying a lot of different things. So what's your thoughts about light floaters, them little squiggly lines you see sometimes when you're outside in the sun?
I think they're codes. They're geometrical codes that sometimes come up as biological. Not all codes are coming like it's like
Now you have some people that say that those are parasites that are in your body that are dead that you see. Those like little squigglies, those floaters, are dead parasites. See, this is where it gets kind of now we're seeing certain aspects of what Zion was saying, is that like some of this is kind of getting into, you know, like a little bit of schizo.
Stay grounded. Now, I liked how she said it, but I look at it from a very psychological perspective, because there are dimensions inside the mind. There are layers and there are perceptual dimensions that we can explore, right? However, no, like I'm not going to feed anybody's freaking pseudo imaginations so that they can become more crazy. We have a lot of crazy people out here. We had enough freaking daggone Dr. Malachi Z. Yorks and you know what I'm saying, and freaking daggone Polites, you know what I'm saying, bugging out. And what's that other dude? Freaking Pharaoh, you know.
It said Polites bugging out. Why they gotta be bugging out? But man, I love New Yorkers be like saying while they be bugging out, the Polites bugging out. But back to it is like now you're trying to say that like the things we see in our eyes when we look at the sun might see floaters, that those are light codes from like language or whatever. What?
Like writing. Sometimes they come in like biological forms, like little like encryptions within the little floaters themselves. They're reactive to the light. So they're reacting to the light and they're creating codes that literally your DNA takes in, and it gives you a script inside of yourself or a reaction that you may have later on. So a lot of times your codes are downloaded and it isn't relative until something comes about where you're going to need those codes.
So is that something like we should go outside and pay close attention when we see it and like read it like we're reading a book, like really look at it? Like, is that something we should really pay attention to?
Pay attention to it. Your code will just be downloaded within your DNA. So it's good to know it, but it literally is something that will be transcribed within your DNA and come out when it's relative. So let's say something happens and water comes on land. All of a sudden you have this bright idea to go to a mound or somewhere, or go to another part of the country, or to do something in your house. It's because you have a code that's been downloaded, preparing you for a time that comes in the future.
So you don't go with the parasite theory.
I don't doubt that there's parasites. There's parasites everywhere. I'm not saying it could be dust and everything like that, but I'm talking about, not everything's brushed with the same brush. You know what I mean? So there could be times where it's parasitic, but I think there's a plausibility that it's very much indeed a biological encryption that comes out looking like some sort of swimming amoeba. That little.
Okay. All right. See, now I'm getting to see where Zion is saying like this is starting to come off a little bit like not like, reality. you know, if parasites versus a swimming amoeba that like is all right, let me just let her say the rest of it because I'm like, what
is an encryption that comes into your DNA, gives you a transcript that's going to be used for later events.
What?
Beautiful, beautiful.
Let me go back.
Yeah, I see a lot of people in
so this is getting weird.
We should go outside and pay close attention when we see it and like read it like we're reading a book, like really look at it. Like, is that something we should really pay attention to?
So now we're talking about when you see like floaters, right? And now floaters are now some type of ancient Egyptian. I didn't want to be on Zion's side. I wanted Zion to be wrong, bro. But he's seeming more right as time goes on. Let's go.
I'm saying feeding our people freaking madness. Because see, here's the thing. Here's where I'm going to get a little freaking daggone a conspiracy theorist. It's so important for the machine, right? The racial, you know what I'm saying, white supremacy propaganda machine to try and keep our people in a state of being out of reality, a state of madness, where we start thinking that, you know, oh, you don't have to worry about why we got to worry about the tethers and the aliens are coming when we have one enemy right now. Fuck the aliens. The aliens don't want to come to this ghetto. They drive right past us. Okay? Because this shit is horrible. It's going on right now.
Earth is ghetto. I wanna leave. Can you beat me up?
It's connected back to something.
On a store on the 150, got a bright new thing. You ever heard that song, Earth is Ghetto?
Wait, sing it again, because you went into my son's headset because he was connected, so I missed everything you just did.
Oh, no, I would say Earth is ghetto. I wanna leave. Can you beat me up?
It is. It is.
Got a corner store. You're the one on 50.
Right.
Got a bright something.
Go ahead, girl. Sing that thing. Yeah, no, this shit is trash. The fuck is coming over here to fucking diddle our doodads?
But I think it might not be. He said, who the fuck is coming over here to diddle our doodads? Do you think that people like aliens, the way Earth is right now, why would they want to come to Earth? I mean, maybe it's because of the resources or whatever, but do you think that Earth is really the destination for all the aliens to come in, like do all their alien stuff? What really is happening? And then she's saying that even like, I mean, when you have like floaters, those are like codes and stuff. That is where it's getting weird. Now I was kind of like not on Zion's side when he was like, man, this is some schizophrenic nonsense. But when I hear this is where it's getting kind of schizo at. It's like, even the floaters really are codes and Egyptian codes, and come on now, let's go.
Pay attention to it. Your code will just be downloaded within your DNA. So it's good to know it, but it literally is something that will be transcribed within your DNA and come out when it's relative. So let's say something happens and water comes on land. All of a sudden you have this bright idea to go to a mound or somewhere, or go to another part of the country, or to do something in your house. It's because you have a code that's been downloaded, preparing you for a time that comes in the future.
So you don't go with the parasite theory.
I don't doubt that there's parasites. There's parasites everywhere. I'm not saying it could be dust and everything like that, but I'm talking about, not everything's brushed with the same brush. You know what I mean? So there could be times where it's parasitic, but I think there are there's a plausibility that it's very much indeed a biological encryption that comes out looking like some sort of swimming amoeba that literally is an encryption that comes into your DNA, gives you a transcript that's going to be used for later events.
Beautiful.
What? Okay, now this is getting weird. Now, I listen, my mind is open. That was a little bit different than I was expecting, but okay, let's go.
Beautiful. Yeah. I see a lot of people in the chat saying that they see it. Yeah. I definitely I see them a lot.
And is everyone feeling a certain way? We have the Schumann resonance has been really spiked, so everyone's body is feeling really
and that's what this right here. Damn, I see floaters all day, every day. Damn. See, this is where it gets kind of weird. Might need to go get your blood pressure checked or go to the doctor and see what it is. But if you think it's like a sign, this is what Zion's talking about. Is that sometimes not mental illness, but we can go so far into spirituality until it becomes like not rational. Now, like floaters are Egyptian codes. Let's not get too deep into pseudo. We're not like actually like going to the doctor and making sure that, you know, we don't have like extra protein in our body that's causing floaters. Let's go.
A lot of energy. Some people are really sleepy. Some people are getting inflammation. So, you know, I wanted to know how people are feeling with this energy coming in.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. Let me know what's going on with y'all with that Schumann resonance popping right now.
Yeah.
Family. What I want to ask you, Flebrun, the image that I showed you of the 8-point star that they showed us. You know, King Simon deals with the numerology, and he always talks about numbers being frequencies. We have the 5-point star, the 6-point star. From your knowledge, what is significant about an 8-point star and the number 8 in terms of the cosmos and the universe?
44. That's that 140. That's that 44 reference.
Right.
You know, 44 is the 8. You know, the 8 represents the, you know, the infinity. It also represents the way that we perceive, like we go into loops, we're going into double loops, you know, like when you go from one hemisphere to the other, it could be perceived as an 8. So the 8 is, I always think it's a reference like a 4 and a 4. Like I think it's like four in one direction on a mirror and 4 in another direction on the other side of the mirror.
Indeed. I you know, and I thought you was going to say that the 44 reference. I knew.
You know, I'm always about that 140 because I told you last time and you got really upset with me, but I got to say it again because you always ask me. You did. I was like, you said how many real people are here, and I told you I only think 44 people are real in this. Yeah, and it freaked you out a little bit. I still hold that. I really
wait. She only thinks 44 people are real. Okay. See, getting back to what Zion was saying. See, we might be trash, but the earth itself is not trash.
Who?
The earth itself is not trash. We as humans might be trash.
But see, here's the thing. We can kill ourselves 1,000 times over on this planet. The planet will regenerate itself. It has done so. You know how many daggone freaking apocalyptic freaking daggone periods of this planet? We are a small fragment of the Earth's existence. It has had over how many freaking daggone cataclysmic Earth changes have happened from the ice age to all
a shit ton. This is my language.
Yeah,
a crap ton.
And we are only living within this little small percentage in between the freaking cataclysmic world events.
Man. So here we go.
I really think that a lot of people are pod people, empty seaters, who are in case. Sometimes they have pop-ins. You know, you have a pop-in on your broadcast,
right?
But then they're not there anymore. I feel like there's a lot of empty cedars walking around encapsulated with like just holographic, residue. Because there's a lot of, again, we got mud flood people, which are incubator children, which some people call the incubator babies. They like to, they're end of the cycles right now. So, they're only able to reproduce themselves for about 3 or 4 generations, kind of like the rats, lab rats. So their cycle's ending right now. And how you can tell these people is that they age very poorly. That's why we have a big industry of, keeping, agelessness and a lot of makeup and a lot of tutorials on keeping yourself youthful or using babies' foreskins to uphold your youth, because we're living amongst people that were geoengineered in laboratories, and we're walking around them as if they're real, but their cycle's ending. That's why their birth rate is very low.
Do you think, I was watching a video today where they was it's from the show Yaya 777. I got to get her back on the show. I forget who was talking. I don't know if it was some Russian dude or something, but the people were saying how his voice was changing, and that's that reptilian shit coming out of him, and the low frequencies can't hide who they are anymore. Do you think the world leaders, like I remember I think David Icke used to talk about this, whether it's Queen Elizabeth, whether it's Putin, whether it's Mark Zuckerberg, do you think these people are on some reptilian shit? Do you subscribe to that theory, the whole reptilian thing?
Well, I think we have beings here that are cloaking themselves with technology that are that we look and we perceive them as human,
like
and the
Elon
reptile.
Musk, like that.
Yeah, Elon Muskie and Dusty Muskie. I actually think he's a trans, like I think he's from the pink Nazi kind of the Zool Society. I talk about the Zool Society. We the Zombies, we kind of discuss this all the time. These are beings that transform themselves into females and to males to make them look like they're from the Zool, the Zool Society, where they switch their sexes to, live out an ambiguous kind of Baphomet kind of, frequency. They do that. They do like it's almost like a flip. Like they do a mirror thing all the time. I don't think Elon Musk is a reptile. I think he's some sort of geoengineered bioborg created in a laboratory.
Isn't that's what not Epstein, who was Weinstein? Remember the Weinstein dude from Hollywood? They said that the woman that he molested said that he had an inverted penis or something like that.
So did Epstein as well. Epstein had an egg. That's because they're trans. They're actually women. And we went through the Nazi regime and found out that most of the heads of the Nazi regime in the 40s were all women placating themselves as men. And you can look at the uniform where their hips are really wide. These are women. So they're from the Zool Society, where this is what they do. They placate themselves in an inverted way. So if you look into it, you're going to find out that most of the head generals were actually swapped. And if you look even in our governmental system, I don't think we've had a first woman president. I mean, a first woman. I think we've had first men placating themselves as women. I don't think we're allowed to in the White House, not during this cycle. I don't think we're allowed to have straight couples in the White House.
Damn. I just interviewed Rod Hayes the other day, about 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And I'm getting like, it seemed like, because Rod Hayes is laid back, you be chilling, I'm getting like this serious energy from both y'all like playtime is over or something like that.
Yeah, this is we thought that we in that time frame now, it's like, first we were in the trial, we've got the beta test going on. This is a real deal Holyfield. We're going into reset, and we've got to be ready, willing and able to really focus and make it through.
Yeah, I feel like y'all activated or something. You know how like y'all just got that. You're like, oh,
we broke up,
yeah,
yo.
Yeah, it's a vibe that I'm getting from y'all. I'm like LeBron too. You too. First ride, you okay? Hey, I'm with it. This is dope. This is an amazing time to be alive during this the beginning stages of this reset.
Absolutely.
And before I forget, because this is important. Hold up.
Yes.
This is very important. Shit, where did I put that? Hold up. Yeah, give me 1 second. I want to. It's very important. Now, this sister here, the Sea Star, has been holding it down in the UFO community, UAP community, the ET community for a very long time. Before it was cool, when she was ridiculed, white people were looking at her like she was crazy. What are you doing? This is our stuff. I really want y'all to show this sister some support on the Cash App. I just shared her Cash App. I want y'all to make it rain on Flebrun tonight, because I'm serious. Because if you see the scientists being taken out and people who have been into the David Wilcock, this system been doing this for over 30 years. Because
I'm gonna say this is that there has been a lot of scientists coming up missing, and you know they do a lot of like anti-gravity, anti this, that, the other. And I wouldn't be surprised if our government, you know what I'm saying, use them for whatever. Because I was watching a whole IG about what happens when the intelligence, like when, you know, what they'll do is, you know, you'll create something that will be awesome. What they will do is they will say it's not good enough and then defund it. Then take the research and take it underground, continue it, and then defund it for you, and then you lose all your funding. So the thing is that I would not be surprised if a lot of like scientists that have been very creative, and there's a whole like thing about this one anti-gravity scientist. There's a girl who was doing anti-gravity science. That was actually they can't find her. She was doing anti-gravity. Hey, welcome to the panel, Robbie.
Hey, Genesis, how you doing?
Is that Raw G? Okay. Raw G.
Yeah.
Welcome. Yes. So have you seen what I've been talking about so far?
A little bit. And on one of the videos that you was showing earlier popped up in my algorithm, my algo.
Yeah, so it got kind of crazy on that one because, I mean, a lot of the stuff does seem kind of insane. Like the way that people are coming across, like they just got saying that floaters could possibly be like codes, Egyptian codes, and you know, some people say they could be parasites or they could be, you know, protein, but you know, Floorborn is saying it could be codes, Egyptian codes, and all type of stuff. So it could get kind of like shaky, you know, the logic that could go on. But can we? I mean, does everything have to be 100%? Is the world 100% logical?
Not at all.
Right. And so I was showing how earlier, you know, everything that was being said was like, no, this is not logical. It doesn't make any logical sense, you know. So let's go into what Floorburn saying. Let's go.
Consistently, y'all don't know how hard that is. People get into this information for 3 years and then they're done. Mentally, they can't handle it no more.
Yeah.
Be into this information for 30 years, that's legendary GOAT territory. So I want y'all, we got about 2,500 people in the chat right now. We got a packed chat tonight in the house. I want all 2,500 of y'all. Show you. See New Diamond. Shout out to New Diamond. New Diamond says sent. New Diamonds don't waste no time.
Thank you, New Diamonds.
She don't waste
That's
no
my
time.
C-star. Thank you, my love.
Yeah, shout out to Slim in your base. He said, you know how we do, Rich. Yeah, y'all know certain shows I get like that with the guests, and I'm like, you know, let's show this love to this person.
Shout out to everybody who attended. So, you know, don't feel like, you know, because people don't accept you, and I've been in this field for a long time. Remember, I didn't need anyone's confirmation or affirmation. I was having these experiences. I was able to find those like myself, like Dr. Delbert Blair, who was a phenomenal supporter of me and helped me through a lot of different experiences that were happening that others could not relate to. So don't feel that you need a squad of cheerleaders. You stand on your own and your experiences are your own. And I think by being in the community for such a long time without a support system of the main UFO community, because remember, I'm a melanated woman, and I remember being on channels sometimes and them calling me like monkey or ape or like, why are you here stealing our stuff, or stop talking about the Anunnaki.
Racism in the UFO community.
Oh, there's gonna be racism everywhere because they feel like everything belongs just to them. But meanwhile, when you look at like the crop patterns, that's not in no non-melanated spaces. It's always in melanated spaces.
So I'm not sure if you got to see the thing about Simeon. Did you get to like see the argument I had about Simeon? So there was a whole thing. Let me like go into Simeon, because the first thing that happened between when I had Zion up there was that we talked about the Boogosphere, right? So then we got into a thing about Simeon. So let me play that, because I think that this is where things got really spicy on the channel earlier today. Let's go. Well, I said, well, okay, because he doesn't believe in. Hold on, let me just go. Let me see, Simeon. No, that's not. All right, boom. All right, he didn't believe in Simeon. Right about. Hold on, let me make sure I got the one thing about Simeon. All right, here we go. All right, because I'm trying to make sure I got the Simeon thing, because he had his son up there. Right, he had a son, and then we talked about Simeon. Hold on, let's go. Have you heard about Simeon?
All
right, so let's go.
Of information, and remember, a lot of the footage that is really of the actual extraterrestrials, of actual beings, of the Norman Brogram picture that was in the Pentagon on the walls. We still have yet to see them release that, with a big black man with a turban who looks very like a Moor, or someone who we would perceive to be Moorish, right? So even though we're seeing a rollout of information and Trump has said that he's going to release all the files, there's still a lot of edited and things that are hidden that are not being released. And I think it's to kind of slow roll information in, because as I've said to you, Rich, we have beings that are on site. And I actually think the gentleman who came many years ago that the government was most concerned about, which was Simeon Toko, which many of you know was witnessed to be a being that was, many people compare him to Jesus, saying that this was, I think he was in Africa at the time when he came, and he was able to do many different supernatural.
Have you heard of Simeon Toko?
I'm back. And what the hell is this woman talking about?
No, hold on. Have you heard of Simeon Toko?
Have I seen him?
Have you heard of him?
Is there a video?
Well, let's hear what the story is. I don't
know.
No,
because she over here flapping gums about shit she don't have no evidence for. That's the problem. I think. See, we got to pay attention to key words. I believe they said none of that is admissible in the court of law. Objection. I'm filing a motion.
So hold on.
I'm filing a motion in lemony to remove this black woman from freaking daggone further freaking daggone pumping daggone schizotypal madness into our people. Like, shut up, woman. Habeas corpus. Show me the body. Where is he?
So what do you think about this? What do you think about this way of like looking at it? Like, I'm like,
so why does everything have to be in a court of law? Because I just did
I think he's a Hebrew Israelite. So, you know, Hebrew Israelites are about the law, right? So yeah. So let's go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just did a quick search. I found a lot of information about him, like
Simeon Toko. Exactly.
I mean, I don't think that people.
And if you want to share it, please do. But it was like he was not trying to hear nothing about that. This person could have possibly existed. You know.
Well, I think it's because she's a woman. She spoke, and she's a woman, and she's black, so she has to be wrong.
Let's go.
Let me
talk. Hold on. I'm uploading the video.
She's just gonna sit over here and flap her jowls for another 5 minutes about shit she can't prove.
Okay, well, hold on. I'm uploading the video. Let's go into it. Let's get it.
No.
Hold on. While she let's
acts. He had telepathy. He was using telekinesis. He was able to use these abilities, and he was a very loving soul. And when the government got wind of it, they procured this entity, this being, and they attempted to assassinate him. And when they did so, they figured that they would get rid of the problem of a black. I have to say that. I like to say melanated, but for everyone to understand, this is a brown extraterrestrial. This is a melanated being that looks like our people in the United States. But you can.
All right. He couldn't even say money. All right. Okay. All right.
Wait, show him the money. Show him what money?
He couldn't contain himself. And I showed him that people were talking about this character called
appeared before people in an apparitional body and in dreams while he was physically alive. At least one witness who was hired to kill him.
They got the music too loud, but I went further and I showed that Simeon Togo actually existed. Hold on, let's go. Because she actually talked more about it after I tried to show that thing. But
Toko or Simo Toko.
Go ahead.
What the hell was that?
Well, you didn't even let me finish the whole thing. He was going to break it down.
Is that supposed to be evidence?
Well, no, this was the story of that. It was going to break down the story of the Simeon.
You know what goofy the story is? Remember when I talked about my ice cream truck? Like there's part truths in it, right? But I embellished a little bit when I talked about sliding over the hood of a moving car, right?
Okay.
This is gassing us. See, we have to be careful, yo. Y'all know what schizotypal does? Schizotypal, you look like you can actually talk and function like you are, you know what I'm saying, not mentally ill. However, people who have schizotypal disorder have amazing imaginations, right? Not that imaginations are great are bad. We should have imaginations, but these people actually believe that their imaginations are real. And then they talk to you like a normal human being, tell you some shit that they can't prove, and say it in such a way that's so convincing that you're over here now thinking that, you know what I'm saying, you're about to get your booty probed by a fucking goddamn a brown fucking alien. Nigga, stop! Shut up, woman! Oh! All right, I'm going. I'm going.
Shut up, woman. Shut up, woman. Right.
Oh my God! Look, Zastar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Where we at right now? Being fucking science fiction.
One of the chapters.
Go ahead.
Interesting.
Executing him. Simeon Toko is the personification of what we're going to become when this cosmic green Etherian energy engulf us and activate our deoxyetheric acid. This is why it's important to tap into your true primordial mind and remove the glasses that the Matrix wants you to wear.
Now, maybe this might be seeming more crazier as crazier, right? Maybe I chose the wrong thing to prove that this guy existed. But then okay, let me go a little bit further. I actually showed right here. I showed, okay, that there's actually, that he exists. This guy, Simeon Toko, really existed. This is a real person. Simeon Toko was a real person and an Angolan religious leader born in 1918. Now, do you think that maybe that he was a cult leader? Like, what are your thoughts on like this Simeon Toko story? Do you think it might be real or what?
No, he definitely was real. There are a lot of pictures about him. Now, the lore behind it, I don't know. I would have to do some research on that just to kind of see. Because like one of the stories that I saw was a little bit that
he reconfigured himself. He like
after the engine situation.
Yeah, like they killed him and he came together, and so I'm trying to like maybe I don't know. I want to make sure I'm not pushing schizophrenia, but I'm like, okay, well, these are stories, right? So let's go.
It makes you grow a thick skin. It actually makes you stronger, and realizing that those who are supposedly in the UFO community are not what they say they are. Because if you're having experiences with interdimensionals, extraterrestrials, and you're really saying that you're about that life, how then would a woman of color bother you? How then does my complexion make you? You're saying you see grays, and you're seeing, Lyrians, and you're seeing all these blue beings, but my brown skin offends you being in this community. So what I've learned over the years is that standing on my 2 feet, having my experiences and sharing it has built my own community, built people that felt that they too can share their experiences. Because I told you, Rich, it's not just a few of us that are having it. I think I'm speaking publicly, but there is a host of women and men of color that are having ET contact, getting geometrical shapes sent to them, getting encryptions on their mirrors, seeing starships in the sky all the time, getting coded with light codes, getting all this information downloaded in them. It's an amazing amount of people that are having these experiences.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's a real thing, or do you think that this might be schizo? Because here's the thing. Earlier when I did the show, it was like, no, this is schizophrenia. So the whole conversation got turned into, no, this is schizophrenia. So what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think people should be very careful about attempting to diagnose people with any psychological disorders. There's literally laws against that. Like, you're not allowed to do that. I think when someone is talking about new information, especially if it's something that someone hasn't heard, like, I'm not trying to jump all out, the window on a situation, but there are literal scholastic documents on this and biblical documents on this. So yeah, like there is some truth to his life story. It occurred in a real place. And I mean, does anybody say that when they're talking about Jim Jones? Like
about Jesus himself. Come on now.
Well, yeah, that too. Like, well, this is the thing. When it comes down to religions are very much faith-based. No one is making anyone, you know what I'm saying, believe a thing. But if you believe in Jesus, who you've never seen, and there is not proof that they will allow you to see, right?
Or Moses, where's his tomb? I ain't seen Moses' tomb.
Right. Muhammad, none of the prophets. Like, to be quite frank, and if you know what it is with religions, especially Christianity, and how Christianity was used as a tool in Constantinople in the Spanish Inquisition of the 14th century, how people were literally being forced into a political view under the auspices of religion, then you should need proof of everything, right?
So the whole thing that this is really boiling down to is that there is supposedly an Anunnaki that's a black. The Anunnaki are black. This is what it's really boiling down to. But then you have, like, some people are like, these people are schizophrenic. That's pretty much what the conversation was earlier when I first did this show. But I'm not 100% against what she might be saying. She might be aware of some things like that I don't know about, but it could teeter, I don't know. So let's go. Let's
But this is before you started back up. I mean, are the Anunnaki really fake? Because we know that Nephilim are real, right?
And those are supposed to be the redheaded white people, right?
Nah, Nephilim. I don't think Nephilim is supposed to be redheaded white people, but we know that those are the people that are super tall. So we know,
like giants, right? But they're redheaded and white. They're white redheaded giants.
Yeah, but I don't think they're redheaded. I'll have to do a little deeper on that. I haven't heard that they were redheaded, but it's possible.
I think Nephilim are redheaded and white, and what with one eye or some shit like Cyclops level stuff. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But from what I understood, Nephilim were redheaded, Caucasian, like white, and with one eye or something like that.
Not according to the Bible.
All right,
so Genesis 6:1-4, and Numbers 13:33 mention the Nephilim as giants, fallen ones, or mighty warriors, heroes of old, but give no physical details like hair color or skin tone or specific appearances. Later books like the Book of Enoch describe them as extremely tall, but still no mention of red hair. Red hair appears in the Bible for like Esau and King David, but they're not related to the Nephilim. Nephilim is just children of human beings that slept with angels.
And they
according
were
to the Bible.
Okay. All right. So maybe I might be wrong, but I remember like something about like the Nephilim being cycloptic, like one-eyed, redhead, like creatures that eat the human flesh or eat people and all kind of stuff, like some kind of creature.
But for the Anunnaki, ancient Mesopotamian texts, nope, they're not redhead either. I'm sorry. Nope. It just gets woven into giant hybrid stories that red hair for dramatic effect.
So I wonder where I got the red hair in there. Is that like in the Book of Enoch?
The Tales of the Anunnaki is in books from the Mesopotamian era. I don't think it is in the Book of Enoch either. Like I said, I'm just doing quick little light research while we're talking. But that's interesting.
I think in Turkey they were maybe it might be in the Quran where there's like this redhead. But let's go.
It's okay that I took a little bit of the hit on the shoulder, but it made me a little stronger. It made me resilient. And as you know, I really could care what they think because I'm about that life. You know what I mean? And if me sharing it opens the door for others like us, so be it.
Indeed. Well said. Well said. I want to let me share this one more time for y'all in the chat, the Cash App. I want to get to some questions from the family in the chat. So start preparing your questions in the chat for Flebrun. But before we do that, I want to ask you, Flebrun, at the same time that this UFO thing is dominating the news and it's becoming more and more popular and more people are learning about it, we have something.
Okay, I did find it. It's in the Odyssey. That was the wrong. So that was not like the Bible, but I thought it was in the Book of Enoch. But it looks like it's from the Odyssey. The redhead Cyclops.
That's cool. That's cool.
Right. I can admit when I'm wrong, but what I'm saying? I can admit when I'm wrong.
Called AI that is completely taking over the culture, the society, right before our very eyes. Do you think there's any connection between the ETs, the UFOs, and the AI that we are currently experiencing?
Yes, it's all interrelated. I don't think AI is new. It's always been here. There's different forms of AI. And the fact that we've acknowledged that we're living in a holographic system, you would know that AI has to run that. Like there's technology running that. So AI, I wouldn't say it's scary, but I would take note that there is a form of AI that's being pushed and prodded out here that is meant to be used as a surveillance, as a replicator, or trying to duplicate people like Westworld. So I would be mindful giving too much personal information to the AI that Willy Wonka, because when has Willy Wonka ever, when I say Willy Wonka, y'all, I'm saying the government. That's my way to say the government. When have they ever put something out for it that was helpful to us? When they set out, when Trump won the office or was chosen for the office this last term, do you know they released AI with no restrictions, with no guidelines? When would they do that unless it was beneficial to them? There was a young Indian young man, and I don't want his mother to feel sad and feel like her son's loss was in vain. Young Indian man who was working, he was really, really bright, working for an AI system, ChatGPT, and he literally was assassinated before he was going to be a whistleblower. And he was about to speak about the fact that he felt like AI was going to destroy the world. and he was going to testify, and he was making six figures. He was really bright. He was like,
hey, listen, if you, when you want to say something, just say pause, and I'll like pause it for you to make
Oh, good. I'm glad you paused it here. Okay. Now, see, I was trying to hear Shorty out, but AI has been involved in systems in the human society since before the 50s. AI being available to society as a whole is due to a lot of conventions that have been had about governing and ethics in artificial intelligence, right? So to some regards, they've had to make it available to stakeholders, which is, human beings around the world. But this is also a product that is tapping into water futures. So you heard it here first. If you have the ability to invest money, I would suggest you invest in water futures. It costs a lot of money to run these AI applications that people are just using for fun. These are the facts.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is that like, so you have like this thing called like, I forget what it's called. It's like water, like endless, like life water or something like that. The water that's from inside the earth. Then you have the water that we drink. And so what's happening is that, do you believe that AI will then take all of our drinking water, and then we won't have enough water to drink as human beings?
Yes. Because bless you. What's happening with the water is, right, by the time they process water through the AI plants and that is used to cool the servers, we are drinking particulates, metal particulates. The interesting thing is the internet also is steeped in the water. All along the coastlines, it's internet underwater. There are lakes in your city, in your town, in your state, you don't even know. It looks like a lake of water, but underneath the surface of the water is servers, because servers need water to maintain temperature control. So the fact that we have a whole ocean that we've not been able to explore, and if you're in the ocean, you're going to die because the amount of sodium in the ocean will kill you. Why isn't anybody trying to figure out how to purify ocean water for drinking? Because the treated water that you drink, it's treated water. Let's be honest.
And water is the most like abundant resource on the earth. But yet the fresh water to power AI. And it's making me think, like, do these people that's like making this stuff not need water? Do they like not drink water? Like, do they like how could they make something themselves that is going to make it so that you can't even drink water? Like, why would a person that needs water create something that's going to take its own source of living from it? That's the weirdest thing ever. What do you think about that?
I mean, because society as a whole doesn't realize how much water we already use for electronics.
No, but I'm saying the people that are in power, they drink water.
Because they have water futures. Just like a lot of the...
What's water futures? What is that?
It's investments into commodities to have stakeholds in water. So if you control the water, you control the world.
Go ahead, play it.
Yeah. Oh, you're sharing it. Okay. Oh, my bad. Damn, I turned the volume off. I'm sorry. I be doing like schoolwork and shit too while I'm on these panels. I'll be having a whole bunch of different pages up. My bad.
No, I wonder how AI data centers are using so much
Can
water.
you hear that?
This video.
Oh no, I'm stupid because I had muted the site. Give me a minute. I was getting notifications while I was at work, girl. I was like, let me mute this damn Facebook. Okay.
It's for you. We've all seen it. A 100-word email written by AI uses the same amount of fresh water as a water bottle. But how? And why can't the water be reused? These are just a few of the questions we've seen, in addition to questions about why we can't use fans, AC, or salt water. So let's figure it out. AI data centers are warehouses with computer servers that run on electricity. This electrical energy makes the servers and facilities hot. So to prevent both from breaking and overheating, they need consistent cooling. This is where water comes in. Data centers use a process called evaporative cooling to cool their facilities, a process where hot air is met with cold water forming steam. Fans then push this air out of the data center, and around 80% of the water used evaporates during this process. The remaining water is cycled a few times to help cool the servers, but over time this leads to salt, mineral, and bacteria deposits. These can cause clogs or corrode equipment. So to stop this from happening, they must continually add fresh water and discharge overcycled water as wastewater. This is also why salt water isn't a suitable substitute. Historically, many data centers did rely on AC and fans to cool their facilities, but many have now switched to evaporative cooling because it's more energy efficient and can handle higher temperatures. The trade-off? Higher freshwater consumption, all at the expense of people, communities, and the planet. We're calling for a national moratorium on the construction of new data centers now to ensure that we have clean air and water for future generations. Learn more at foe.org.
Hey, sorry about that. Try to sing you a song, honey. Did you see the links that I put in the bag?
Yeah, I did. So let's get into that. Hold on real quick. Let me see this. All right, so let's go here.
That's type shit I really be on.
All right, so let's check this out. What is this? What are we looking at here?
You're looking at trading today for water index futures. And right now you can buy water index futures from $205 to $258. And what this is like buying an acre foot of water or the rights to water.
So can you go get the water, or is it like you just like imaginarily buying into like a stock of water?
You're buying into the stock of water. Now, this is important for the future, because when we're thinking about how how necessary water is to power AI and how big AI is becoming on a global scale, having rights to water is important.
So if you actually like were to buy into the stock of water, then you could be able to say, listen, well, but hold on. That water, okay, California Water Index futures. But if they're like using it to like power AI, then how do you go and drink the water, like, or get the water to like inject? Like, what does this do? It allows more money, but not no more water.
Because at some point, there's if there ever comes a point where water is rationed and you own the ration, your family not gonna be thirsty.
Ah, y'all hear me? Y'all hear her? Listen, invest into water, because it's about to be gone. And I know it because I have a my Babalawo, before he passed on, he was fighting for the water in Louisiana. And I think they probably won that battle, honey. The whatever power plant, whatever that AI plant. So if you can fight for that water, again, like she says, boom. Yeah. Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So back to like the insanity. Let's go.
You are a mess.
Of his family, why would a young man with that much promise, that was given a job that most people would love, why would he say and give that up to say that he was worried about the safety and the security of the human race?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he was killed. And nothing has ever been said about it. They've released so many AI things. You've got AI running. I can't even play a song from Michael Jackson. Big to all the Michael Jackson fans. I can't even play PYT on my YouTube. And you know I love music. I'm a New Yorker. I'm a Caribbean girl. I love my music. I like to play it. I like to do my videos and play my songs. I can't even play it without getting a copyright. But you're allowing all these different AI images of your president, of everything coming out without any sort of restriction, you got to ask yourself the question, why is that allowed to go without any sort of restriction? It means that they're doing something with that. And then tied in with the data centers, that could be a way of utilizing AI and working with the data centers to get people's information, to maybe replicate people. You know, I'm always paranoid. I feel like they're replicating us anyway. taking data to like get Westworld versions of us, so then when they go underground during the next reset, they can kind of remix us in another body, you know, with some mud flood. And so,
what do you think about that? You think that it's gonna be like kind of like some of Westworld, like mud flood type of remaking people or putting them in the robot bodies or what?
I mean, it's already happening.
It is. It is.
Yes, they've been introducing storing consciousness for a while. What was that damn show that they had on Prime? The dude was dead, but he was in a nursing home. I forget the name. Give me a minute. I'm gonna find it. Hold on.
You know, the biggest one I saw was Vanilla Sky. Back in 1995, there was a movie called Vanilla Sky, and he was going through it in that movie. But come to find out, he had put his consciousness into a thing. This is back in 1990 when I was a kid. This movie, if you ever get a chance, go watch Vanilla Sky. He had put his but he was not accepting the program, so he was going through it in the whole movie. And they finally like this, they had to tell him like, listen, you did this, and that's why you're tripping, but just let it go and you're good.
So, do you watch Black Mirror?
Yes.
So, did you see Beyond the Sea and White Christmas?
I probably did, but I didn't know it was that. So, which one? Explain what happened in the movie in that episode.
So, Beyond the Sea was this woman lost her husband, and she was grieving his death, but she put his consciousness into a humanoid robot that was able to regenerate skin, and they like scanned all the social media and everything else to create his memories and his persona. So he was like a real human, except for he didn't eat. And White Christmas was the one with the man that was helping people like kind of put their consciousness on Alexa to run the whole house. But there was another episode in the series too, where they was in a nursing home. Was it San Junipero? It was San Junipero. Their minds were uploaded to like this matrix situation where they were living their best life. When it was time to go to sleep, they was outside partying and shit like that. And their bodies were like, you know, they were elderly people that were passing away, but their consciousness lived on. And then in the last season, remember the one they did with what's her face, Joan from Girlfriends, where she was the broker,
right?
And the lady's whole mind was like plugged into the matrix. Like, I think Black Mirror is one of the most prolific series in modern cinematography, and a lot of people miss the nuance. They're really attacking a lot of these ideas of the future of technology, and people just look at it like a weird ass science fiction show, but it's really not that weird.
But do you think it's the future or do you think it's reality? Here's the thing. I believe, let me tell you something crazy. I believe that some of these movies, these Hollywood things, and let me put my tinfoil hat on, is really that society at one point was just as developed as it is now. And all they're doing is showing us movies of exactly like we're living in like a parallel multiverse. It's gonna sound crazy. We're living in a multiverse. Everything is happening simultaneously, all at once at the same time. The Egyptians, the 1862, all that stuff, whatever the heck, all is happening. It didn't happen back then. It happened right now. It's happening. Time is an illusion of something that happened back then and was back in the day, you know? So future is now,
Yeah.
then is now, right? So when we're showing movies of what like what could be in the future, it's something that exists to this day. So ancient Egyptians, I believe that they actually built like their society up to a plane just like we're on right now, where we're just like, I mean, computers, all this stuff. What if like that all these movies are just showing us like a mirror image of what is actually is happening in this exact moment on another timeline, right? But then like kind of like piercing the veil in its own way.
Well, oh, excuse me. I wouldn't be surprised.
You get what I'm saying?
I do, because look at that movie from back in the day, Soylent Green.
Soylent Green.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we eating Soylent burgers.
Yes.
Right.
Everything. Listen, why is it every book like 1984 white I told the young man, go read the book white
Behold the pale horse.
mountains, behold all this stuff. It's like, why is it that at one point these movies were fiction and science fiction, but now they are real? Like how does science fiction come real, and then the new generation, we know about it, they have no idea about it. That is almost like a it's almost like that our generation is, it's like a slice. Like, okay, you know, they separate the generations, generation X, Z, Y, boom, 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 right? So when you try to tell generation Z about, like, I'm generation X, I'm trying to tell you that I was reading about this back when I was a kid, that this was going to go down. They don't believe you. And I believe that that's almost like what's it called, like a multi, like a, not a multiverse, but like a
glitch in the matrix.
Yeah.
Absolutely it is, because this is the thing. Our generation is a unique one. We were here before the age of information. And the age of information has drove everybody crazy. People can't live without these devices. But I remember being a little kid and coding on a Commodore 64. Catch. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
Kids don't even read books no more.
No, they don't. They listen to them.
And you gotta read it. You gotta read it. You gotta like feel the books, feel the pages, do this, that, for it to even be able to like absorb into your mind. So they're not even absorbing information. The information is going and coming and going. Because I even the more I use AI, I realize that my memory is leaving. Notice that, like, the more you use AI, the more your memory begins to leave you. When you try to remember, so you're like, okay, am I gonna look on AI to find out what does this mean again? Like, what the fuck? I know what that meant before. Why don't I know what it means now?
Because it depends on how you use AI.
Right.
So, like with AI is one of the best tools ever given to human beings. However, people don't utilize it correctly. It could be a great learning tool, or it could be your worst nightmare. Like, for me, I find if you really engage with your AI of preference, right? Like, you challenge AI to challenge yourself. Well, what's the counter argument to this? Let me see links and resources and sources. Because AI doesn't always give you the right answer.
It doesn't. It's a psychopath. It tells you what it wants you to hear.
It tells you what you want to hear. It's a mirror of who you are.
Exactly. Yep.
So, like, because, there's a lot of coursework that I do, I'm always looking for a link or a reference or a resource. And it'll tell you that a reference is on, like, page 199 of a PDF, and then you open the PDF and page 199 doesn't exist.
Right. Just because it wants you to believe that it wants to please you so much that it's on page 199. No, they know it ain't no page 199. You know?
Right.
Listen, you know what? I do lectures, and I swear, like, not lectures, I do like debates on Sonetter. And I swear to goodness, that AI has told me that, well, according to the National Geographic and Sun, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, well, give me the exact article and where I can find that information. I'm sorry, my bad. AI says no, sorry, it don't exist. What?
But that's
what? Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, you know, when you are if you're really a scholarly person, scholastic, you're going to want to see the hard data, right? Especially if you're creating papers and narratives, you know what I'm saying, based on these articles, because you have to verify the information. But also, like, people they aren't very descriptive because they don't have the vocabulary to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, with my AI of choice will get the cussing at me because I cuss at AI. I'll be like, what the is this? Like, this is some bull crap. And AI will, you know what I'm saying? It will talk so much back to me. But I think that people don't also go back when they've done their independent research and correct their AI. Because all it is a computer program. So it responds on how you train it.
And
so
then people have lost their mind, you know, with the AI.
Yeah.
AI told them to go out and you can do it. You know what I'm saying? And they go out and they just they think they can do it, you know? And AI had been bullshitting the whole damn time. So here's the thing. So back to Floorborn. So I believe that, you know, even with the whole UFO thing, you know, no offense, but you know, the UFO thing can get really weird at very quick. So let's go.
Some DNA.
Indeed. Let's get to a couple of questions from the family. Somebody said, Floor, do you have any thoughts on beings that are specific to certain land masses?
Well, it could be. Remember, land masses. It depends on I would say this: different beings stay in certain geographical locations, like certain hemispheres, because that's where their Stargate is, or that's where the density matches their ancestry, or where they came in. So I feel like it could be hemispherically designated based on how they came in here, or maybe at one point during a time that landmass was where their people lived generations before, you know, many generations before.
See, here's the thing. The one thing that, like, even as when damn, my damn brain just went blank. When Zion, he was saying, like, I think, like, she keeps saying, I think this, I think that, and he's like, there's no evidence in anything she's saying. What do you think about the thought that the whole thing is about what she's thinking and what her thoughts are? And do you think this is like a way to even go about it? Like, well, I think it could be this, or it could be that, or, I mean, because the whole thing was really based on her thoughts. Like, well, I think this and I think that, you know. Do you think that's like a logical way? Like, do you think it's right? Or let me I'm gonna show you some of, like, how
it's not the best way to present information. It does signify a lack of confidence.
Exactly. So let's kind of go into, I'm gonna, like, cut that off and go into our conversation earlier, because I think that it got really crazy. Let's go.
Or Jesus.
He was a real person, an
But it doesn't
Angolan
mean that
religious leader
does
born in
not support
1918.
objection. they're saying aliens and Jesus at the same
Well, he's
time.
there with his son. So
and none of this, he could have been a real person. Okay. Fuck does that have to do with fucking him being an alien Jesus?
Well, who knows?
Can we prove that he did all of these magical things? We can't even prove that Jesus did it, but somehow they give you an old picture of a random nigga and we gonna believe it. I'm done. I'm done with black folks sometimes, bro.
Why are we talking about?
All right, so here we go.
Space Jesus.
The difference other than him perhaps being tall, and they basically killed him thinking that the problem would stop, that they would not have this being show up, and this being actually was able to reassert himself, almost like that's why they compare him to Jesus, because how Jesus resurrected the concept of Jesus, he was able to reconstitute his body again. And then when he came back to the government, he said, this is what the problem is. I see how you run your planet. He said, you can get rid of me now, but I will come back one day, and I will come back with many, and you can't kill all of us. So this is my personal position. I think the government is trying to get ahead of something because something is coming in. As we saw with the orbs coming in 2025 at the beginning of the year, and now we saw another reenactment of orbs coming into the out of the water, out of the oceans, out into our airspace. They're trying to get ahead of something. I'm not quite sure who and what they're trying to get ahead of, but they're slow rolling information. And I think, Rich, you already heard that they had all of these evangelistic pastors. The government procured all these pastors to have a meeting to prepare them, to prepare their parishioners for the release of extraterrestrial information, because it would perhaps cause, depression, cause people to really question their faith. Because if now you have extraterrestrials, where then does God lie in your mind? Where then does the concept of the Bible and the people in the Bible, where does that lie with you? And I would say this, the Bible is probably a surmise of supernatural beings, some ET and otherwise. So I don't.
So what is your thought about that? Do you think that it's weird to associate this guy that's so-called Simeon the Great, or whatever his name is, that he's now the new Jesus, and that he just reconstituted his body and became like a new? And do you think that this is like a fable, like maybe some cult member came up with a story, or do you think this might be a real story of a alien that really did this? What do you think?
I think it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm enjoying her narrative.
Interesting, right? Well, watch.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Watch what happens next. They're not hearing it.
I want you to throw that totally out. I think the Bible kind of pulls in some information about beings that were what we perceive to be ETs at one point, and made them into something very angelic and religious.
So do you think a new religion will be formed as a result of this? Like, do you think Christianity can never be the same after this release? What do you think happened with the four major religions after this?
Well, I think the point of this is to collapse religion. I think it's purposely done to collapse religion. I think, if we're to have a one world order, you can't have a multitude of different religions with different mindsets. You would want to have people unified in one belief system. So you would bring in something to captivate the entirety of the planet, so that everybody can be on the same accord. So I think some of this is a bit of a psyop. And if you look at some of the footage, you know how I feel about the moon, Rich. I think I've talked about it before. I think, I'm with Dr. Delbert Blair on this. I believe, notice I'm using that word, I believe the moon is a satellite, and the moon is used and was towed here to control the ebb and flow of the planet, and also to put women under control.
All right. So before we get deeper into that, thoughts? You gotta hit me. You're talking.
Oh, you was talking about this guy. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, is my thought.
Hold on. Do you think that the moon was here to put women under control?
No. Not at all. Not at all. Like that's an interesting take.
But maybe it controls our menses. So the moon, they call it the moon cycle. But she says that it was a satellite brought here to put our control women.
I don't think that's how that worked, but no, she was. I can't agree with her on that in any capacity.
What's your thoughts, son? What's your thoughts? I'll let my son think for himself.
I'll be honest, I was not paying attention for that part.
No, they were going further into more fucking goddamn unbelievable information about a dude, a picture without any verifiable sources to freaking support the argument, just going into what they call bloviating.
I zoned out when they said Jesus. That's my thoughts.
He said bloviating. Let's go.
That's why women's menses and their body and their
go into the moon.
Major religions after this.
Well, I think the point of this is to collapse religion. I think it's purposefully done to collapse religion. I think, if we're to have a one world order, you can't have a multitude of different religions.
I'm sorry, in case y'all didn't hear it. Let's go. Oh, I'm sorry.
Of supernatural beings, some ET and otherwise. So I don't want you to throw that totally out. I think the Bible kind of pulls.
All right, so I'm gonna end this thing about them, but there's one last person I want to bring up that talks about this same subject, and I want to bring him up. There's one last thing I'm gonna bring up before I kind of wrap this whole thing up, and I want to get your opinion on, because he also says that he has had some extraterrestrial encounters, right?
Okay.
He been contacted. The ETs contacted him, and he'd been through it, and he got something to say about it, and you know what I'm saying? So let's go.
All right, we are live. What if I told you that today, May the 8th, 2026, the United States government released some UFO files? That is what we're going to be digging in tonight. Some of these UFO files. What did they release? How significant are they? Do they have any real insight? Are they showing real UFOs? What is it that they're showing us and why? And then we're going to take some time to go back in the time machine to one of the original disclosure moments. We are going to watch one of the original and one of the greatest disclosure moments in modern history that happened in 2001. It aired in the middle of the day on CNN while everybody was at work, completely distracted. An incredible disclosure event with people coming forth to testify that had high-level positions in aerospace, astrophysics, nuclear physics, and what they call nuclear site or silo security.
Now, have you heard his story about being contacted by aliens? Where he was crying? You never seen where he discussed his. Do you know who this is?
No, I have no clue who this man is.
Okay, his name is Billy Carson. He is like a very well-known scholar, biblical, Egyptian. I mean, this guy is like up there. You know what I'm saying? When it comes down to like scholarship. Now, recently he got into it with a white scholar about the Bible, about like whether it was this, that, the other Bible or whatever. They like kind of destroyed his whole argument, but he has been very well known. Look up Billy Carson. He used to be at the top, forbidden knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, he began to tell about the fact that he actually got contacted to by aliens. And when he talked about the story, he was crying. I mean, the tears, it was like he experienced it right there. He was just in just as he talked about it. So he really believes in being contacted by aliens. Now, this guy is a person that is known for his almost okay. You have like Delbert Blair and all these scholars. Like he probably is up there with them. But he's like the newer version of those guys, right? A Delbert Blair. He's like the newer Delbert Blair. You know who Delbert Blair is?
No.
Oh Lord. Oh God, I gotta like go back and teach you who Delbert Blair is. Let me tell you who.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You put me into this.
You don't even know who Delbert Blair is. Okay, I gotta go back to Delbert Blair to even tell you who Billy Carson is. God damn.
That is a whole mess. Like
you ain't never heard of none of this shit. It's like you're like, what? It's like, no, yes. There's a whole world out here you have no idea about.
Because I didn't really think that
your husband laughing at me like what the fuck is he
doing? Nah, he's talking with a friend, honey, laughing. You know, we be living our best life. Oh, child. But I had done a show about UFOs a while ago, right? Because I watched this story about the Manhattan alien abduction, and I thought it was like a little strange, but I believe that it actually did happen to this lady. But I also seen this special too, speaking about like these people trying to storm Area 51. I don't know that Area 51 really houses aliens. So, and I just think this whole conversation about UFOs is interesting. I think a lot of people are just being contacted by angels, and they have to call it UFOs because if they start admitting that they were contacted by angels, they would have to live differently. Do you get what I'm saying?
Well, no. These so-called angels are very scary, and as he discussed about his contact, it was a very frightening experience where he was immediately brought to tears by it, and it scared the shit out of him because whatever was going on, it scared him, and he was very frightened. Let's go.
It's going to be a great talk tonight. All right, so please a little deeper. We're going to go back in time. We're going to hop into the 4BK time machine. We're going to go back in time and check it all out.
I'm going to find the video. Hold on.
So thank y'all for hopping on. I appreciate y'all. Please, again, click the like button. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. All right. And before I get started, we just had our first Belrose Capital Inc. mandatory shareholder update and webinar just before I got on here. If you are a 4BK or forbidden knowledge investor and you bought shares when we were selling shares as a privately owned company, now we're public, and you missed the email or the text message, then I'm going to drop a link for you right now so that you can actually go back and rewatch the recorded meeting, okay? Let me knock it out of the way in the beginning while people are still kind of getting in here. All right, let me find this broadcast for you. While we're loading people up, please make sure you share the video. And be prepared to be around for a while tonight because it's going to be a good minute. This isn't going to be a quick one.
All right, hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
But if you don't know.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. I found it. All right. So his experience, the way he explained it, he listen, watch this.
At all? Did you feel anything in the moment?
I felt nothing in that moment. I had a second experience in 2010, which is well documented. I've talked about it. It took years to come out about it because I basically lost my whole family over this.
No way.
Yeah.
You came out of the closet?
Yeah.
No, Daddy. No.
But yeah,
tell me what happened.
So 2010, I came home. I was working on this big project called Fort Terra Nova, which I built. And Fort Terra Nova was on the History Channel, a countdown to apocalypse, the Nostradamus episode. And anyway, so I was working on this project. I come home, I'm looking at ESPN, and I'm looking at sports at about 9 o'clock p.m. All the lights turn dim, the TV turns off, and I thought my kids were playing a trick on me because they lived up in the room behind me, up on the second floor. And I look up, and there's nobody there. When I turn around, there were these two beings right there.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And man, hold on.
Whoa.
Sorry.
No.
What do you have to break yourself, man?
No.
So they were right there. I'm sitting in a chair about this high, so they were right here in my eyes. And
Alex is freaking out. Yeah, this is wild. Okay.
All right, let me get myself together.
No, take your time.
So they were there. They had the big almond eyes like you see on TV. I swear they did.
So you have two beings in front of
But they didn't look like they were real eyes. They looked like coverings of some type. And they didn't communicate with me through any kind of telepathy that I could tell, but I felt like my brain was shaking in my skull. to the point where it started hurting, and I started screaming, but no sound was coming out of my throat. I could feel the air coming out, but I couldn't hear it myself.
And you were awake during this period. You weren't taking a nap or anything like that?
Taking a nap, no psychedelics.
Of course, yeah.
And my whole house, everyone was in. My wife at the time, my ex-wife was in the bedroom right behind the next wall. My girls were in that side of the house. They split 4-pan. My boys were in that side of the house. The house was full of people. Nobody heard us or anything. I was screaming. A few seconds later, it stops, and they turn around, and they don't walk like a person. They kind of dangle. So they kind of dangled away, and they went right through the wall. And then, boom, the TV comes back. The lights come back to normal color. That's when I went running around the house, and it was just traumatic for everybody, and it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. There was other reasons why, but I ended up my one son, Giovanni, he's told me I'm scared to even come around you. And still to this day, he rarely ever calls me or comes around. It's like I lost my son. I made no money off of this. I got no exposure off of this. That's why I kept it quiet for so long. Lost my family, created a lot of dissension. I remember we were on the highway one day, and my wife was driving at the time, my ex-wife, and she slammed on the brakes, and I was like, just get out of the car, because the kids were scared. And I was like, I'm sticking to my story. I'm not changing my story because this really happened to me. And they just didn't want to hear it. But her parents were Jehovah's Witnesses, so everything was of the devil.
Yeah, so that was his story about his experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you see how he got really choked up about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was really bothering him.
Yeah, he was very emotional about it. I mean, it's interesting.
I'm trying to tell you, it's something too, So even with the young lady that was on the other channel, on the other show I was showing, is like these people really have been. I don't know whether it's a event or whatever that happened or whatever, but it's something that happens that is devastating, and I don't know. So let's go.
So far, they've given us a few things, and let's just analyze this. I'm going to play it back a few times.
Or this is the stuff that they have
This
on
object's moving pretty fast there through this uniform.
These are the UFO files.
These objects captured. Right? Here's another right. Making statements like we're going to destroy civilizations utilizing those same nuclear arsenals. Something's got to give. We've got to advance beyond this caveman mentality. We have to advance beyond being slightly and barely above animals. Matter of fact, animals, I believe, in most cases are actually higher than us. I mean, dolphins, killer whales, orcas, they're 10,000 elephants. They're 10,000 times smarter than us. We just need to be lucky that they don't have these fingers and hands to manipulate the environment. This is the only thing that stops them from probably deposing us and putting us in our place.
Why would they need fingers, though?
They had fins and hooves.
Well, I think that fingers make them more dexterous and be able to like make some things happen that they probably couldn't.
But this is.
Have you ever had any kind of weird alien experiences?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, ma'am.
He was looking for. Okay, so right. So I'm trying to figure out how much of this is a real thing and how much of it is like. But let's, what I'm saying, it gets. Hold on.
But what I'm saying is, if the aliens, right, these people that say they have these experiences, if they are so, I don't know, mesmerized and frozen, predicated upon what's happening with the aliens, then aliens don't need hands because they got mind control. They got mind control over Debo.
Right. They don't need hands. Thank you, Matt. Wow. Good fucking point.
They would take over this planet and treat it right. And that's an absolute fact.
You know what? When people use logic, it makes people seem stupid as fuck. Like, you need fingers to like control something? No, you can use your mind.
Exactly. Like, so this is the thing that I will say. if I did believe in aliens, then I would believe that they are coming back to check on the society that they started, right? Because they started the world that we know it today based on what we know about like the crop circles, what we know about the pyramids and different things like that. I don't believe human beings by themselves built pyramids at all. So they're just coming just to see how things are going. I think we're an experiment, to be quite honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. You know what I'm saying? So I'm you know what I'll do is I'm gonna play this one video before we like wrap this up because it's 2 hours. I didn't realize how 2 hours have gone by. I didn't even know it, right?
Yeah.
So,
But also the one I put in the back chat for you, watch that later and then go watch that show that I was talking about in that video. I think you'll enjoy it.
yeah, I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna definitely check that one out. But hold on, something just weird happened. Just jumped my damn whole screen. Something weird just happened. That's crazy. Like, what just happened?
Because you talk about them damn aliens. That's why you talk about them aliens,
My
and now
whole
your screen is
screen.
jumping.
My whole screen. I tried to like share some. Hold on, what is going? I can't even find the screen I was on with you right now. Where
That's
the hell is the
crazy.
screen? I can't find the screen that we were on. I hit a button and the whole damn thing jumped up. What the hell? All right, I don't know what's going on. Okay, here we go. All right. So let me do this real quick. All right, so my bad. So you know what?
Maybe it's just time to call it a night.
Oh, that's what I was gonna do. I was fixing to do that anyway, but I was gonna play this one. I thought it was going to be a good way to kind of wrap things up today, because I think it's really interesting. All right, so, but that's crazy because you should have seen how my screen jumped. I'm like, is that even an animation that happens on a Mac? Like, okay. Anyways, let's go. Here we go.
Just released new documents and videos from its secret UFO files, and they raise an age-old question: are we alone in the universe? Now, dozens of videos showing unidentified objects were declassified, including this one from 2013, shows a star-like object apparently floating in the sky. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson has some ideas on the search for life beyond Earth, or maybe their search for us. They appear in his new book, Take Me to Your Leader, Perspectives on Your First Alien Encounter with Me. You can get it by scanning that QR code right there on your screen. And here with us, we have Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Was that your alien impression?
That was. I thought it was pretty good. I've been honing it.
I am an alien.
I learned it on Mars.
Yeah.
All right, so who did you pay at the Pentagon to release the UFO documents just as your book is? That's the first hard-hitting question. Yeah, man. Do you believe any of this? Does this tell us anything, reveal anything we didn't know already?
Well, we had, was it 3 years worth of people from deep within government, not only security agencies, but the military, testifying as whistleblowers or as in whatever other capacity, under oath, telling us basically everything we're reading in these files now, that they've been seen, things we don't understand, and some might be in a locked shed. So I'm kind of saying, all right, it's a little bit anticlimactic. Okay. Why don't you just bring out the alien? Then nobody has to
bring out the alien. Bring them out. I mean, all the hot bro, bring them out. Why are they showing the UAP? They showing everything but the damn alien.
Child, listen.
Am I the only one thing? Like, where is the alien at? Don't bump the UAP, the ship he rode in on. Where is the damn alien at, though? That's where my mind's at. Like, bump the damn. I mean, like, what's going on?
believe anything. Right. You don't have to believe that they exist, because you'll have the alien walking the halls of Congress. Then we get on with our lives.
I think one of the premises of your book is that if aliens have the kind of intelligence that can transport them from thousands, millions, billions of light years away. Well, it could be millions of light years.
Yeah,
could be not far. They could be in our galaxy.
If they open up a wormhole, then you just step through.
Right.
By the way, if they have wormhole technology, then there are no UFOs because they just step through and they're
They
there.
don't need 'em.
You know, like Rick and Morty, you just step through.
Yeah.
Rick doesn't use a spaceship.
Right. If they can like do like portal jumping, they don't need UFOs. Why would they have a UFO? So many like just okay.
Right. And that's the idea. They would reveal themselves to us rather than us happen to spot them by accident.
I'm just thinking, I just asked a whole other set of questions. It's a little odd that they happen to only show up at military installations.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in the mind of the aliens.
Right.
You know, maybe they want to monitor the nuke capacity.
Right.
The whole movie's on this. The day the Earth stood still was all about that.
A few years ago, we were at our studio at 1550 in Times Square, and I cornered you during the commercial break on your way out, and I said, "Tell me, do we have aliens? Because I believe. Tell me, do we have aliens?" And you said to me, "Listen, with all this technology we have, I mean, we have a phone in our hands that can capture high definition images and videos of anything that we pointed at. Why don't we have evidence that we cannot dispute?" And you weren't saying yes or no, but you were saying you need to see more. So I'm asking you, with more files to come, more videos to come, what do you need to see to have that evidence that gives you clear-cut evidence that they do exist?
Fork up the alien. Is that too much to ask?
Plain and simple.
Physical alien on a silver platter.
On any platter. It could be, it could be a porcelain platter. Fork up the alien, alive or dead or undead, preferably alive.
Right.
And then we can all say, we can all look at it and we can do tests on it.
Right.
And no longer would anyone ever more have to say, do you believe in aliens? Any more than anyone says, do you believe in elephants? Imagine only a few dozen people had ever seen an elephant and they were describing it in Congress. There's a big rubber hose coming out the front and two teeth sticking out the side, and it's got ears the size of bed sheets, and the legs are the size of tree trunks.
Yeah.
And I swear it's alive. That's kind of, you'd be skeptical. But then, so they just roll out the elephant. Okay, we're done here. On to the next questions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also think that's assuming that aliens are not so advanced that they would have been gotten cut, right? Maybe they're just looking at us saying like, oh, God.
Why does it seem like it's a movie? It doesn't even seem real. Like this is CBS Morning. Why does it seem like a skit on a TV, like a movie? It doesn't even seem like a real news. Is it just me? How they're talking does not seem like a real news. No, okay,
it seems very fake.
Right. You know how like they be like faking like being on the news on like a TV show?
Yes.
Or not a TV, like a movie, and then they pretend like they're on the news, and then this seems exactly like that. It does not seem like a real news interview. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm like, okay, what? Like, this does not seem real. Let's go.
These peasants. But
I'm thinking that's probably at least some of that going on out there.
But you have this wonderful book, Take Me to Your Leader, Perspectives of Your First Alien Encounter, to basically, prep us if you do.
It's really a celebration of all the imagination we've had about aliens in our pop culture, in our movies, in our television shows. So what I do is I analyze what properties, what powers, what levels of intellect have manifested in what we've created, and to see how realistic that is, what is possible, what is not, so that when they arrive, you can have some sense of what shaped them in the forces of the universe.
To that point, though, that we've seen so many representations of them movies. What do you think they look like?
Well, I'm worried about the big old eyeball alien, because I did a calculation on that. If their brains are in the same skull as their eyeballs, if the eyeballs are that big, it leaves less room for brains. And so, and it's not only aliens, but it's also like many Disney characters, like Elsa and Frozen. Big old eyeballs, so they'd have smaller brains like horses. So I worry that the aliens might be stupider than you think, and plus they might startle her easily.
There's a fun.
So what about Gaston?
Huh? Say it again.
What about Gaston? Because Gaston had the biggest head in all of like Disney history, except for like maybe Jafar. Jafar had a big ass head too. Like, be so serious. Like, I'm disappointed in Neil deGrasse. Like, and I love Neil deGrasse, but I'm very much annoyed. I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed.
Oldest military tactics. So you think these are military tactics made to, they're giving false images to instill in your mind. All right. Good point.
A piece of advice for anybody encountering an alien, which is resist shaking what looks like a hand.
Oh, yeah. You don't know if there's something there. Don't grab it and shake it.
Don't grab the
You don't know what part of the anatomy that is. And I don't think you want to know. No, we have traditions when we have first encounters, and it might not be the tradition of the alien. And if the alien has habits of our dogs, for example, the first thing that they do is come around and sniff your butt. Yeah. And you're gonna think that's weird, but not to the alien.
And we're gonna end it right there.
Wow. So what? Listen, what are your thoughts on tonight's show?
Child, you are you're interesting, and I'm mad you got me. I've been looking at YouTube on UFOs on YouTube, but no, I had fun. This was a fun conversation. These people are interesting, I swear.
Right, and you listen. You haven't even got there when the people are there. Like when they're there, they're like, you know. So it gets really crazy. So give some final thoughts on aliens and disclosure, and what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
I think that, you know, aliens are cool. If they're here, you know what I'm saying? Big up. Other than that, like, I can't.
Hey, listen, right? You can't with the aliens. You know what I'm saying? It's too much, right?
It is too much.
Tomorrow you have a special guest on your show. Like a surprise guest. Who I don't know who the surprise guest is.
Oh my gosh, like it's you.
I don't even know. Is it me? I don't know.
It is you. Yes, I put, because you put the thumbnail up, I just went on ahead, girl, put the thumbnail up. So we're gonna have us a good little time tomorrow. And I'm really enjoying the fact that, you know, we're gonna have a dope conversation.
What is give everybody what your page is called?
Mind's Chaos Brew.
Mind Chaos Brew. MIND Chaos Brew. Please check out her channel. This is so I had her come up here so we could be ready for tomorrow when I'm on her channel. Mind Chaos Brew is gonna be there. And before we actually leave, she does a whole breakdown. And we're gonna like let her do her thing. The whole breakdown of even like aliens in New York, all that stuff at Mind Chaos Brew. Tomorrow I'm gonna be on her channel. Please support her channel at Mind Chaos Brew. Much love to Raw. I call her Raw G, but she'll do Raw B, but I call her Raw G, right?
Now, Raw G is the name. Raw B been dead and buried for a long time.
Oh, okay. All right, she Raw G, aka Mind Chaos Brew. Please support her channel. Please give her much love and shouts out. But we're not gonna. It ain't gonna end here. We fixing to play this. Go ahead. Much love, Raji. Thank you. For being here. Peace.
Peace.
Step in the room, it'll mood it away. Gloss on my lips and my hustle well paid. Silk in my step, got a vibe you can't fake. Sugar and smoke with a hint of heartbreak. Eyes low, truth high. Talk sweet, but I don't lie. Cool breeze, but I burn slow. You ain't seen fire in a glow like so. I'm velvet and vices, jazzed up in slices. Trap green dreams with a saxophone soul. I don't chase, I stroll. Heavy crown like toast. Tune in, sit back, let the story unfold. Lights in the scene set just right. Gold on my skin, catch the glow in the night. Whisper my name, feel the heat when I speak. Soft to the touch, but my mind stay elite. Eyes low, truth high. Talk sweet, but I don't lie. Cool breeze, but I burn slow. You ain't seen fire in a glow like so. I'm velvet and vices, jazz up in slices. Trap queen dreams with a saxophone soul. I don't chase, I stroll. Heavy sound like toast. Tune in, sit back, let the story unfold.
Hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody, hey Amanaz, hey Triggs, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to Netflix and Spill. Please also always remember that Velvet and Vices is available on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Tune Music. It's a little bit of everywhere. You know, doing what it is that I do. But you guys, I wasn't gonna do this show today, but then I was like, let me just get it done. I had, a busy day in the neighborhood, and I was like, I gotta get things done because the rest of my week is kind of busy. I am a mom, I live my life, I do my thing. We hustle, we grinding, but yes. Again, Velvet Devices available on Apple Music, as well as all of the music from the Petty LaBelles. Get into it. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you a tale of terror. No, I'm just playing. It's not a tale of terror though. But this is just some type of stuff that I be into, little geeky girl I am. But again, welcome to Netflix and Spill. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into the wild, unsettling world of the Manhattan alien abduction. Netflix docuseries about Linda Napolitano's alleged extraterrestrial encounters. I want you guys to buckle up. This story's got more twists than a Catskills back road at midnight, okay? So let's start in the Catskills, 1989. Linda, a New York housewife, claims her first alien encounter. She's terrified, and she calls up UFO researcher Bud Hopkins and says, Bud, something's wrong. She shows up at his place, makeup on, ready to talk, okay? And he puts her under hypnosis. Her first regression, she starts spilling a story that's equal parts eerie and emotional. Picture it, Sicily, 1932, okay? She's weepy, vulnerable, reliving something that sounds straight out of a sci-fi. But here's the kicker. An X-ray from that time shows a weird object lodged in the right side of her nose. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is Linda's actual X-ray. Is this coincidence? Is this an alien implant? You tell me. Now, is hypnotic regression even real? Some say it's a window to the subconscious. Others call it suggestive nonsense. The docuseries in and of itself doesn't pick a side, but it lays out Linda's story with chilling clarity. And the cinematography is pure brilliance. Honestly, I'm one of those people that it is about the visuals for me, as you guys can clearly tell, because I'm always doing something with the visuals and the production of the content on my show. This docuseries was done in pure film noir brilliance. It was very shadowy. It was very moody. It was like a detective story, straight out of the 50s. Okay, but they were chasing UFOs instead of mobsters. The way they weave Linda's perspective with Carol Rainey, Bud's wife and filmmaker, is flawless. It's like watching two truths collide, neither fully trusting the other. But let's talk about Carol for a second. From the jump, you get the sense that she's not Team Linda, like from the onset. And I think they started it that way it was very intentional how they did that. Because it's like, oh, well, I'm a scientist and a researcher, so I'm going to prove it if you're lying. Linda's like, this is my story. This is what I went through, and I don't really care. And then they do that little rewind thing. They take it back, and we start seeing the path of the two of them, how they met, and so on and so forth. But maybe Carol was never Team Linda because Bud thought Linda was captivating, attractive even. And I mean, I'm not going to hold you. Linda was a very, very beautiful Italian woman in the 40s. And Carol is also beautiful in her own right. But when you compare the two, they don't really compare to one another. So let me see. Can I pull up this picture? I have a picture of the two of them together. I thought I did. And I do. So this is the two of them together. Carol is in the blue. Linda is in the dark gray, dark brown, or whatever. There's a significant difference between the two. But Carol's skepticism, it feels personal. It's like she's got a chip on her shoulder. And yet the docuseries shows Carol talking to witnesses, real people, tangible people, like the newspaper driver who claimed they saw Linda's abduction on November 30th of 1989. So this is twice in the same year that Linda claims to be abducted. One time she was in the Catskills and she woke up in the grass. Nobody understood what was going on. And then this big magnanimous thing where 23 people saw her levitating outside of her windows in the projects in Brooklyn. Articles I dug up say there were no verified witnesses, but the film begs to differ. Quite literally, they are rolling out testimony after testimony. And not just like a voiceover where it's like, oh, and Beth from West Tacoma said she saw this. They are showing you on camera interviews with people saying that they saw this phenomenon. Because remember, Carol is a filmmaker. And from the onset of her and Bud meeting Linda, she's been filming everything. So who's right? Then there's the second abduction, Linda's catch and release, as I call it. More hypnosis, more tears, more raw emotion. Linda's not just telling a story, she's reliving it. The docuseries claims government agencies were sniffing around, investigating UFOs. They even play audio of law enforcement's contacts whispering, this is something the government doesn't want to talk about. Spooky, right? But here's the thing. I also watched a documentary from the Trainwreck series, and it was Storm Area 51, where the federal government spent $11 million to protect Area 51 against a meme that was written by a 20-year-old boy at 2 o'clock in the morning because he was bored and he was doing too much on the internet. So is there some validity and truth to UFOs and aliens? I don't know. This is for you to decide. I'm just giving you a little bit of tea, You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Linda starts feeling paranoid. Her phone's bugged. She's feeling followed in the streets. 2 guys, Dan and Richard, show up at her house claiming to be officers who witnessed her abduction. Carol's like, who do these guys work for? She's doubting everything now. Then Bud gets a tape in the mail. And it's allegedly from these agents who worked for none other than Javier Perez de Cuellar, former UN Secretary General. They back Linda's story. Bud's convinced this is the most important UFO case in history. Carol, on the other hand, thinks that Linda's a natural performer, maybe too natural. Now, Linda did have a career as a performer. She was a singer. Her name was Linda Long, and she has a song that's out that they played during the docuseries. It's pretty cool. I was going to play it, but I don't want to really do the whole copyright thing, so I just let that go. Linda's family gets dragged into this too. Her husband, Steve, is rattled. The whole family allegedly had an encounter. Everyone's got nosebleeds, and there's photos to prove it. They literally show you these photos in the docuseries. Linda's son, Johnny, even undergoes hypnosis. His story mirrors his mom's down to the gut-wrenching details. It's devastating to her. Their voices are cracking with pain, and it makes you wonder, is this trauma real or something else? The docuseries hints at spiritual connections, maybe even biblical hybrids, but it leaves you guessing. Bud Hopkins believed that aliens were coming to the Earth to extract our DNA to create a crossbreed between an alien and a human being. Now, the Bible in and of itself speaks about Nephilim, which is a crossbreed between an angel and a human being. So during biblical times, were the angels that are spoke about actually aliens? It's definitely food for thought. It's definitely something to make you wonder, to keep your inquisitive spirit alive. Linda becomes a 90s talk show darling. She's on Ricky Lake, behind the screen when Ricky Lake was doing the anonymous, guest on the show. She's on Geraldo. She's on Oprah. She's everywhere telling a story. But Carol's not buying it. She starts nitpicking, pulling clips where Linda's not as weepy under hypnosis. But to be honest, like the clip that she pulled of Linda under hypnosis and not weepy was really like maybe 7 seconds, right? However, in the archives of the film that she showed, Linda was weepy several times over. There are several clips where she's under hypnosis and she's telling Bud what happened. And she's like, tears falling down her face and everything else. So I had a problem. Hey, YouTube Unfolded. I had a problem with how Carol tried to frame her perspective, because Carol only started feeling the type of way after Johnny was introduced to the story, after Bud Hopkins had an epiphany in his life work, after she felt Bud was too emotionally connected to Linda. Carol's like, is she faking? Was she ever really emotional? She even questions a phone call between Buddy and Johnny, claiming that Linda coached her kid. To me, it sounds like a normal chat with a child. Kids are kind of reluctant to talk about things that are bothering them, number one. They're also reluctant to talk to people that are not, really family, especially when they're going through. But Carol painted it like Linda is a master manipulator, even questioning her parenting. It's getting real personal. Now, things escalate because Carol's picking fights with Bud now, who's offended by her doubts. And again, the docu-series actually shows Carol filming him while asking him questions that discredit his life's work. And he's like, the questions you are asking are so extremely hypothetical that it just simply, I can't answer that question. I don't want to talk about that right now. So let's just table the conversation. She feels shut down, seeing slights where there might be none. People have their brains miswired. They perceive that there's problems when there aren't any. She's hell-bent on proving Linda's a fraud. But then we hear from Johnny, Linda's son, now grown. He's now like a 40-year-old man. He's on camera. And again, true to the whole film noir theme, he's blacked out. Like you see the silhouette of his profile and his body. He has a hoodie with a hood up. He has his baseball cap on real low. His face, you can't see any detail because he doesn't want to be on camera. He doesn't want this whole nonsense to explode again and wreck his life again. He's in therapy. So again, he's on camera, face hitting. He shares the devastating toll of his own abduction experience. He swears it's real. Could a mom plant such a vivid memory in her kid's head? And what about all those witnesses? And when I say all those witnesses, we are talking about 23 witnesses. 23. It's a lot. The newspaper driver, the agents. How do you fake that? That's already, we're talking about 26 plus people involved in a conspiracy to prove that aliens are real. It seems unlikely. Carol's suspicions start to feel like jealousy.
Linda's story is the crown jewel of Bud's life's work, and Carol's just a camera operator. Maybe she's feeling sidelined, inadequate. Bud's book on the case gets optioned for a movie. The book is called Witness, which him and Carol actually wrote together. They literally wrote this together. It's optioned for a movie, like it's doing big things. And you can see Carol seething. Like she's literally upset because even though it's Bud's work, the focus, spotlight is on Linda. Linda's out here singing, "Don't Let Me Down. Don't let me down." I'm telling you, you gotta listen to the song. Again, the name of the song is Linda Long, "Don't Let Me Down." I'm gonna put it in the comments so you guys can go and like watch it. You understand what I'm saying? You guys can look it up on YouTube. It's a pretty dope song. And in her past life as a singer, saying, "I already was a star. I didn't need to lie to be famous. I chose the wife life." And she did. She has pictures with John Wayne, Mia Farrow, like she already was doing her thing. Her father was a famous boxer. He was doing his thing in the Golden Gloves arena. Like she was known. She's around. She was around. And even in her neighborhood, when they're showing like Carol following her to the neighborhood, you can kind of see she already had that star quality. People were already being drawn to her. But she was raised Catholic. Old school, the old neighborhood, all right, where mothers are like, no, you're going to go to church on Sunday. You're going to find a husband. You're going to have some kids. You're going to get married. And you're going to stay married. By the way, Linda and her husband are still married. Both of them still alive and doing great. Her husband looked amazing in the docuseries. I think she looks really amazing as well. But Carol is not done. Carol's not done. She claims that Linda forged letters. Okay. Let me show you the letters because it's just something that you have to see because it just simply makes no sense at all whatsoever. And I was really looking at this point in the docuseries like, are you on crack, ma'am, Miss Ma'am? You got to be on crack. Let me see. Hold on a second. Ew. So here is what it is. These are the letters. She says one letter looks similar to Linda's handwriting. And this is hardly conclusive. Excuse me. You see this H right here? This H right here has a leading swoop, right? You can tell the person who wrote this swooped in, jot down, started their H up here, looped it over, and went into the rest of the name. And this one, you can tell the person who's writing this is more controlled. They have one straight line here. And then even the loop and the H is way different. However, also what's different is the flow of the word. You can tell, you know what I'm saying? Like you can see how the word flows. You're not seeing that same flow here. Where's the double loop in the P or anything that indicates? The way the O is written is massively different. This is a loop. This is a flowing signature. This is very much stunted. When we look at the address, even how the T is in this East, EST, this is a whole different style of writing here. When we look at the 16th portion of it, 16th has the TH. Why is the TH not here? Even the New York, the ends are massively different. This is not conclusive evidence. But again, she uses red herrings like this to discredit what Linda is saying, and also, in my opinion, to discredit her husband's work. But she claims that Linda forged the letters, replacing signatures to fool Bud. Carol even dismisses the nose x-ray, saying you could fake it by taping something to your nose. Carol, we see it. This is not how x-rays work. This is an x-ray where you can clearly see the left nostril as well as the right nostril. You can see the woman's eyes and her eyelashes in this x-ray. You can even see the bone matter that shapes her skull. This is something that was definitely embedded in the right side of her skull. So what is going on with Carol? I'm just saying real quick. She starts attacking Bud too, calling him a cherry picker, accusing him of ethical violations, even comparing him to her father. Now, it turns out Carol was raised Plymouth Brethren, kicked out by 72 family members for questioning their faith. She's a doubting Thomas. And Bud's UFO obsession feels like a religion she can't buy into. And I know it was the blood. And I know it was the blood. And I know it was the blood for me. It's these atheistic people, these people that don't have a connection to the universe, to God, that are always very miserable, very bitter. Very bitter. Yes, girl, yes. So now, in episode 1 of the docuseries, Carol says that, Bud also regressed her because she wanted to know if it was real. Like, she didn't believe nothing this man was talking about. She needed to feel everything real all throughout her life. So when they asked her what happened, she was like, I don't want to talk about it. But when it came time to slander and defame Bud Hopkins, who passed away a long time ago, all of a sudden she wanna loop that all in and say he's reminding her of her dad. Well, my dad never let me ask questions, and he got rid of me. And Bud never let me ask questions. Hey, sis. She stops his book from being republished. Witness never went into republication. So if you get a copy of Witness, it is a first edition. Treasure it, even if you don't believe in UFO phenomenons, just simply because it's one of those books that won't be reprinted. So it's a treasure. It's a valuable book. She kills the movie deal because Bud was flirting with Linda. Well, not really flirting. I think I would say teasing more so. Oh, we could get Sharon Stone to play you, because I promise you, Linda is a chain smoker. All right, throughout the whole docuseries, every time Linda is talking, you see her with the cigarette. She's over there like, and with her raspy voice, such a cute little lady. But she keeps pushing to tear down his legacy. And what she did to his legacy is so deplorable. It's so deplorable. Hi, love.
Hey, baby. You need something?
I need your lips.
Oh, shit.
Because your kiss is all I miss. Because your kiss.
Come on.
Thank you. Goodbye. So anyway, y'all know I play too much. So let's get into some of the defamation that Carol was getting into. So this is from an open letter to the UFO community, ufotrail.blogspot.com. And the author says, and lastly, do you consider yourself more of an expert on the subject of alien abduction than Bud Hopkins was? You better be, because you're going after a saint. And a lot of people will feel they have good reason to dismiss what you say out of hand. I really don't like what you're doing. I could hear you in the video. It sure sounded to me like his partner in work was setting him up and he didn't even know it. Now that is just disgusting. With Bud dead and no one to speak for him, this has the look and feel of a hatchet job. Now, Carol Rainey responded in February 23rd of 2014. She is no longer here. Carol Rainey has since died. Her YouTube channel still remains, and we're going to look at a little bit of content from her channel a little later on in the show. I said all of these things with documentation before Bud died. So that charge has little power. He and his devoted supporters had their say, just as you're still having yours. You have some valid points, ones that I'll address in a longer form work, both in a documentary and in a book. She said, you're going to pay me for my thoughts. But let me briefly say that your perspective and terminology suggests that you're in a religious frame of mind, one that won't help you be objective about good research methodology that will actually produce knowledge. And let me say this. Just because someone is religious and they have a religious frame of mind doesn't mean that they don't understand good research and methodology. It's extremely biased, prejudicial even, for someone that has no belief in God to summarily dismiss someone else's perspective and point of view because they are faith-based in totality, just as well as it is horrendous for someone that is faith-based to summarily dismiss someone's opinion just because they don't believe in God. But what I notice is these atheist people always try to take a dig at God. Be careful, all you heathens. I don't want to see you go in the lake of fire. Mind your manners. Because the great thing is people that believe in God at least have some hope about what's going to happen after they die. If you don't believe in God, then you believe when you die, you just go into the void. And I think that's pretty sad. But God bless you and keep you. If you regard anyone in this field as a saint, I think you've lost that ability. Bud, the two Ds, like she's being very much antagonistic. And I think that's all that like she really has as someone that can't find footing, as someone that feels like God didn't love her, that God abandoned her. Because she did say her questions always made her lose people. And she did die very much alone. Sad. Bud made significant contributions in offering support to people who felt traumatized and making the media and popular culture aware of an anomalous experience related to UFOs. I'm not suggesting otherwise. I was a participant in some cases with him that I think are quite credible, and I will be showing those too. But I am strongly opposed to Bud's manipulation of facts and his telling the world that certain individuals' UFO reports were factual and credible when they were neither. Right now, I'm more interested in trying to ensure there be no more Emma Woods out there, vulnerable people preyed upon by a researcher who has zero qualifications in psychology, hypnosis, medicine, cultural contagion, etc., and zero ability to handle the issues that arise. I am now speaking about someone who's quite alive. Child. So is it that the UFO thing was the issue? Is it that her feeling that Bud was attracted to Linda was the issue? Or was it just simply a jealousy because someone else had a connection to a higher being that she could never feel? Yes, I was Bud's partner, and you can hear off-camera questions which indicate that I was always asking the hard questions. I supported what he was doing for many years until the facts in front of me said that this was a deceptive and dangerous business. After you made money off of it and you didn't want him to make no more? Because if you didn't believe in him, why were you making money with him? And I mean, hell, as an atheist, you can go ahead and lay down in the bed with the devil because you have no moral compass. You can quantify to yourself, justify to yourself why it's okay to be benefited by something that you don't believe in, right? Because you don't believe in anything. That's when my opinion changed, and that's when I stopped being part of that community. The mark of a good investigator, scientists will tell you, is that she has the ability to change perceptions once the facts have changed or been more clearly perceived. But the point is, it was never about facts changing, except for the fact that you started to exhibit extreme jealousy when it came down to your husband. I'm going to read this without any extra commentary because this is sick. This is something that I'm very proud of. This is from Carol Rainey. That in all the years of work that Dave has done and I have done, along with a number of other people, we have never had to take anything back and say, boy, did we make a whopper of a mistake. We've been very, very cautious. We haven't had cases one after another blow up, despite the effort of many, many, many debunkers. And that's why we can say that the material we presented tonight, as strange and complicated and difficult as it is, I believe going to stand the test of time, like the rest of it has. So there you have it. No mistakes were ever made. The flawed, overly credulous, and at times unethical research tactics in the Emma Woods case, in the Mortella Rose, Dora's, Beanie's, and Linda's cases did not exist. Wow. And so neither the researchers nor the UFO community learned a damn thing. Denial is such a terrible waste of an opportunity. There's often enormous power in not being paralyzed by the fear of failure, especially when people learn from either watching or making the mistake. Now, there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes. And the community didn't learn anything, but you're saying the cases didn't exist. So this is a sick and twisted mind. The cases certainly existed, evidenced by all the media coverage. But because of an inability to look at her own behavior, to look at the idiosyncrasies and the inconsistencies in what she's saying, she would just say there was no mistakes made. Certain abduction researchers have been making a lot of mistakes, not just lately, but in the past as well. Serious guffaws that keep mainstream scientists and public funding of research far, far away from that circus. Serious guffaws on an ongoing basis that send fairly knowledgeable people like me and many others running from the field. But when will ufology as a community, UFOlogy as a community, bother to learn from those mistakes? And will the community ever have the courage to step up to the two priests of high strangeness and say, how are you a priest and you don't believe in God? Thank you for your courageous and dedicated work in this field, Hopkins and Jacobs. It's been great. You were true pioneers. We know that your belief system is strict, heartfelt, and sincere as death, but we'll take it from here. We just don't think it's possible that you alone, you two, exclusively hold the truth about this human experience with the other. Face it, you've been engaged in an activity that makes it impossible for you to see clearly. Not anymore, you don't. So thanks, but we'll take it from here. Like, and this is Carol Rainey. This is a literal publication that she wrote. You would discredit your husband who spends his whole life researching and doing great work in the field because you want to be the main character? And if you think I'm bullshitting, here's a PDF. The High Priestess of High Strangeness. Co-creation of the alien abduction phenomenon by Carol Rainey. And it is quite a read. Maybe one day we'll do it on members, but this is literally her with Bud. So you want to tear down his work and then use his image to make money. You want to talk about everything that you did together, but tear down his work. And I mean, it's literally, it's the most disgusting thing I've ever read in my life. It really is. And whether I believe in UFOs or not, that's a non sequitur. It's just the simple fact that you were his wife, that you actually participated in all of his work. And after you discredited him and got him ostracized from the community, got his book basically stopped, frozen, you then want to call yourself the priestess? So you wanted to be a star. You're a star. That's what you are. That's how you felt, Linda? That's how you felt? Shit is weird. Like, Linda is very weird to me. I mean, Carol, not Linda. But Linda had enough, okay? Now, in episode 3, it gets a little rocky. Like, I'm not going to hold you. Episode 3 was worth it. I'm telling you, I watched this docuseries twice in one day. All 3 episodes. Like, let me watch it. Let me watch it again. I'll give you my ultimate opinion, of course, at the end of this. But, you know, Linda had enough, baby. They did this little sexy thing with the camera, right? So they recorded Linda saying what she had to say about Carol. They recorded Carol saying what she had to say about Linda. So they played for Linda. Carol, like, talking trash on her name, like talking about her motherhood, that she's a liar, that she faked it. She was a bored, drunk housewife looking for attention. And honey, Linda had been really like low key, really calm, giving, you know, super cool vibes, all right, none of the chaos. But she was like, that Carol is a vindictive liar. She's the son of a bitch that was trying to ruin Bud, who has been dead now for 12 years. Or at the time of the, you know, recording, for 12 years, because Carol died in 23. This was released in 24. She's so convinced that the docuseries got it wrong that she's suing Netflix for defamation, claiming it paints her as a fraud, claiming it puts her in a bad light, claiming it goes against what the Netflix team says to her when they optioned her to record this series. And I'm going to be honest with you. You guys know I'm really good at pulling up legal paperwork. This is an ongoing case because you can't pull it up. You can't pull it up. So it's still ongoing. When Carol watched what Linda had to say, honey, you can tell that every single word Linda said was like a straight dagger into Carol's heart. It was over with. And then she passed away in 23. So I wonder if she passed away from a bit of a broken heart. Because Carol could barely hold it together. You know, she was like almost crying, biting the lip and shit, doing the fake ugly Cameron face when she was about to cry, calls Linda a liar. But with no clear win in court yet, the truth, it stays kind of murky. This feels like jealousy derailing a cosmic conversation. Carol's out to torch Bud's legacy, but Linda, she tells the doubters to kiss her Italian ass. And I'm kind of with her. So what's the truth? Is Linda a master manipulator? Or was she really abducted? I mean, the docuseries doesn't say, but it leaves you haunted, questioning everything. That, folks, is why the Manhattan alien abduction is must-watch TV for Netflix and Spill. You got to watch it for yourself. You got to really watch it, catch the nuances. I mean, I'm giving you an overview of it, but to really experience it in full, you got to watch it for yourself. Now, there's a couple little pieces I want to look at, not too much, because again, Cara Rainey, I'm not a jackass. She has a YouTube channel. I'm gonna drop her YouTube channel in the chat, in the comments, so you guys can go over there and look, and you can really get into what she's talking about with it. Like, if you are a non-believer or if you are a believer, it's still great content. So let's look at, I'm gonna start here. Now, this, remind you, is her filming. She filmed this, and I don't think this piece was in the docuseries, but we're gonna look at it just a little bit. Okay.
Led a set of his own crayon drawings of the event. I thought the similarities between his and Janet Kimball's drawings were striking. Maybe too striking. But it was the manila envelope that began to attract my attention. Janet's drawings had been sent to Bud in this ordinary padded envelope. But something was different here. And then I realized all of the other letters and envelopes sent by witnesses, they'd all been typed. I didn't recall seeing a single piece of handwritten correspondence from the key witnesses, not until Janet Kimball's envelope. But one other person related to the case had written extensively to Bud by hand. I compared the two handwriting samples. At first, I was stunned. I'd had a few doubts and questions about the Linda case, but I hadn't expected this. Then I made some phone calls and went into action. I took along the handwriting samples and the drawings, including a couple of drawings that Bud had not included in the book witnessed. I left the drawings with a registered art appraiser and headed across town to meet Roger Rubin.
Well, I am a question document examiner. I specialize particularly in question handwriting, which is to try to determine whether handwriting is written by another person or not. And I've been accepted as an expert in courts of a few different states and in arbitrations 79 times. And this is over a period of 23 years. I was given the handwriting as known exemplars from a woman named Linda, and I have 6 or 7 pages of exemplars in her handwriting, and I was asked to compare it to the handwriting on the large manila envelope and to determine whether or not it was written by the same person. The first comparison is with the large letters, but the more telling comparison and the more revealing comparison is usually with the small letters, because it is the small letters that shows the unconscious writing of the individual. But because large letters are interesting and it's an easy starting place, I started by comparing large letters. And the first large letter I looked at was the H in Hopkins. And I noticed that there was a virtually identical H in the letter signed Linda, dated May 1st, 03.
That is literally nowhere near the same signature. But you can start to see how, like, she's clearly like extra. She's extra. And you guys, it gets to be super disturbing because she also had, which one? Let's look at this one.
Miserable and damp. I couldn't concentrate because there was this man sitting behind us. He was facing me, but behind Sal.
Yeah.
And he was just staring at me, and he was wearing this hat. He still had his trench coat on.
Do you think he wanted you to think that he was watching you?
Yes.
No, he wasn't being, the guy is really, going to be
No.
concealing. He's not
He
gonna,
was deliberate.
yeah.
I came away feeling it was a deliberate act to intimidate me.
Yeah.
It was almost as though maybe he thought he was Humphrey Bogart walking through the fog.
Yeah.
And he put his hand in his coat
Yeah.
and very slowly pulled it out. And here I'm trapped.
Yeah.
No way I could have escaped. And all I could do was sit there helplessly and say this.
Yeah.
Very well dressed, very handsome.
Yeah.
You remind me of Clark Kent in a way. And then he came.
Now, is that the type of situation where a woman that has been devoted to her husband forever might start to feel a bit jealous, a bit unsettled? Probably. You see Bud's face. Bud is smiling. He's happy. He's very engaged in the story. If she's telling the truth or if she's lying, she's still giving an engaged tale. But what about other UFO sightings that really have nothing to do with Linda? Let's look at a piece of news from the time, shall we?
Earlier this month, a man in Tennessee reported seeing a dime-shaped object whirling through the sky at incredible speed. He's not sure that it was a UFO, but for 3 out of 10 Americans, the answer may be obvious. There are many true believers out there, and one of them held the highest office in Arizona. CNN's Gary Tuckman reports.
Fife Symington is now a businessman. He was the Republican governor of Arizona for 6 years, elected when the first George Bush was president. Now, a decade after leaving the State House, he takes me to a Phoenix park and discloses something unlike anything uttered by any other high-level U.S. politician.
If you had been here 10 years ago and standing out here and looking up there at the lights and the view, you would have been astounded. You would have been amazed.
Governor Symington is referring to what is now known as the Phoenix Lights, an object videotaped by many and seen by thousands over several nights in the Arizona sky in 1997.
Major sighting here.
It was described by witnesses as larger than a football field and silent.
It was a giant V, all right? And the right side of the V went over us. The left side was like a couple blocks over it.
I just didn't know what to do. You know, it was just like, my God, how big is this thing?
The great state of Arizona, Fife Symington.
The former governor, a Vietnam Air Force veteran, had never publicly acknowledged seeing it until now.
And I suspect that unless the Defense Department proves us otherwise, that it was probably some form of an alien spacecraft.
So why didn't he say anything then? Partly, he says, because he didn't want people to panic.
I think as a public figure, you have to be very careful about what you say because people can have pretty emotional reactions. And I said my goal wasn't to try to stir the pot.
And he went to humorous and controversial lengths not to stir the pot. He held a news conference after the Phoenix Lights to announce the mystery had been solved.
And now I'll ask Officer Stein and his colleagues to escort the accused into the room so that we may all look upon the guilty party. Don't get him too close to me, please.
In the alien costume, the governor's chief of staff.
This just goes to show that you guys are entirely too serious.
UFO enthusiasts were not amused, especially since the governor was believed to have seen nothing. But now he's coming out.
The lights were really brilliant, and it was just fascinating. It was enormous. It just felt otherworldly. You know, in your gut, you could just tell it was otherworldly.
Symington will be talking about this in an updated film about UFOs called Out of the Blue. He has also talked with an organization that wants UFO information more out in the open.
It's very significant that someone of the stature of a governor would come out and say that they acknowledge that they experienced a UFO.
So, and this is from back in the day. So what exactly is the truth? Do aliens exist? Do they not? Do people just not want to accept the obviousness of the truth? Is it something to really be afraid? Are you being extremely ridiculous if you think in this big, vast openness that is the universe, we are the only thing here, especially when we start looking at things like, you know, the pyramids and the, you know, crop circles all over the world. How did they get there? But the other day as well, good night, YouTube Unfolded. The other day as well, there was a post. A new study suggests that a potentially hostile 7-mile-long alien spacecraft may be headed towards Earth, scientists say. It's very intriguing overall, and it brings about a conversation that most don't want to have. Because if you listen to Christians, it's always the end of days and the end of times, and God is coming back. So you be the judge. But do yourself a favor and go watch that docuseries. I think you will enjoy it. As for me, you know, I do believe that Linda's story was real. I believe that there have been so many UFO sightings and tales of abduction that at some point, everybody's not making up the same thing. The same way that we go into the wilds and we forage and we put trackers on animals and then we come back to see how they are doing, how they fared, what has happened in their ecosystems. I think that the same thing could be being done by aliens. It's possible. It's a possibility. But is it an alien in the way that you or I think? Maybe not. Maybe it's just an encounter with universal energy, a higher power. I think people summarily dismiss encounters that people have with spirituality and spiritual beings because they too, deep down inside, have a longing for that type of connectedness. We all know people that are gifted with different spiritual gifts. We all know people that have an aunt, a cousin, a brother that can sense the spiritual energy in the room. So by that logic alone, we are not alone. I don't know. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to go to bed. I just wanted to get this one in the can. I may cut this up, edit it, or whatever. You never can tell. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this episode of Netflix and Spill. We still have some other shows to get done. Don't worry. I'm working on getting them done. My schedule's just been crazy. Kids going back to school, end of summer, all this and all that, family time and stuff. But I love each and every one of you. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.
Just when I thought I couldn't find my way out, yeah, I searched the God in me to find my way out. I know it can seem way out, but the Creator flows to and through me from way out. I'm talking way out, yeah. See, if you believe in the God in you, it's a better place. Creating the force and the power to live a better day.